Good Sunday evening. I'm not sure how good it is for me. My browser just crashed. Literally seconds, 2 seconds after I went live. And that's why you saw the thumbnail for so long up there. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I just got to pray that there's no more crashes happening. So we'll see, because there's nobody here to entertain you if I go down. So if I go down, you're gonna have to just wait till I log back in and do all that crap. But anyway, good to see those of you who are here. To the rest of you not here yet, I guess I'll say hi later. But right away, I'm going to jump in and say hello. I know you're not here anymore, but thank you as always, Mr. Red Jack Brian Norton, everyone. Give him a hand. Going off to work. Hard-working man that he is. Yeah, man, have a good night and enjoy the show on Rewind. I don't know if it's going to get insane. Mike. We'll see. Let's see what happens. But yes, please, thank you to those of you who have left me some thumbs up. The last time that I checked on YouTube, in the other tab, it was 11 thumbs up minutes before I went live. So that's cool. But yeah, please, as you walk into the studio, sorry, not the studio, but into the chat room, please, if you don't mind, somewhere down here below, please hit that thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And hey, thank you guys. Thanks to all of you, not only obviously you regulars, but all of you Rewind viewers who seem to really appreciate this series within a series, Stop the Insanity. I got to give it up to you guys too, because on the last episode from last week, I hit 87. I know you have no context, so it doesn't really probably mean anything to you, but 87 likes. And that is, you know, I mean, only 13 away from 100. I may have had an episode or two that reached that range before, I think. For the most part, they don't ever get anywhere nearly that high, you know. So thank you. Yeah, that means that a lot of you, more than usual on Rewind, Rewinders typically hit like at a rate of like 1%. So I appreciate it. Also, a big thanks to those of you who watched on Rewind, and of course, obviously, you guys who come in all the time every week live. Wanted to say, you know, I was worried about how many viewers last week's episode might lose, because I didn't have the benefit of having Matt Kennedy, my pal, here co-hosting in the studio with me. And as it turns out, it wasn't so bad. So the video didn't get as many views as the previous two episodes, both of which were, you know, up above 700, 720 something, and I think 750 something. But it is currently, last I checked a few minutes back, it was at 707. So it broke 700. And that means it's doing better than the first two episodes in this series, which are down in the 600 something range. Either way, every single episode of this series, I'm so happy and proud to say, is doing better than, I believe, or 4 out of the 5 are doing better than 100% views to subscriber ratio, better than 100%. And one of them is just slightly under 100%. So, I mean, just phenomenal. So it speaks, I guess, to how much people like to see this kind of stuff, you know. And I got some nice private emails telling me how much they enjoyed it. So that's all also very heartwarming and appreciative. Or I am appreciative of you for letting me know. So thank you very much. And so while we wait for peeps, the rest of the peeps to stroll in slowly, let me jump in and say hello to all of you peeps here. And so I said Hello to a couple of you. And who else is here tonight? So, number one Marvel fan. Hey, what is up, Tom? Rickster, good evening to you. And of course, John Brown, as always. Good evening to you. G'day. What's up, David? What's going on? All the way from Oz, as always. Good to see you. Lovely to have you, as always. And burning that money, Marcus. Burning that money. You see tonight's episode, everybody. Tonight's episode, I'm trying to put the fire out. You see me with the hose. I'm trying to stop that money from burning. And that's what tonight's about. Tonight's, I guess, what you can call the exceptions to the rule. All right. Tonight, we're going to see examples of the 15% or so of people who resell their art at auction after holding the art for less than 5 years, who actually made some money. But you guys are going to also see, I think there's going to be a few interesting takeaways, even when you see the data that I'm going to present to you tonight. Because I think not only, sure, tonight are the winners, but nobody watching this should take that as a reason to think that I'm promoting that you should, flip your art and sell it as quickly as possible. It's just the opposite. Okay, these were the lucky ones, and even still, you'll see later tonight that there are a few examples that I don't want to give the details away now. We will when we get to them. But I think a few of these examples technically made money, so they fit tonight's theme. But I think you will see when we get to them that, in realistic terms, they hardly made any money. So they're hardly what we would call winners. And so, yeah, if we were to call them sort of, washes, really, yeah, they would skew the numbers even worse, higher than 85% losers and even fewer than 15% winners. So, but we'll get to that. Yes, happy Sunday. Thank you, my lovely wife. Thank you for always tuning in and supporting. I appreciate it more than you know. Been a crazy weekend here. Happy for the show tonight. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you. Sorry to hear it's been crazy for you, Tom. Damn, rain has been horrible. Thankfully, we didn't have rain. We've just been having heat. It's been very overcast the last few days, though. So it has helped quell the heat somewhat. So who's number one? Who is number one? Number one Marvel fan, I guess. And CJ says hello to Vivian. What is up, CJ? Good to see you. Hey, what's up, Peter? Good to see you as well. And hellos flying across the room. Is that a pic of Scott Hordershide burn barrel? It is not. It is not. It is literally a depiction of the money that collectors continue to burn when they decide to sell their art too quickly. That's what it is. Like I said, I'm trying to put it out for tonight. I'm trying to put it out for tonight. There we go. Hellos. That's barrel too small. Hey. Right. Everybody likes going down, I thought. Oh, that's a good one, Tom. That's a good one. You know me. See you all next week. Let's just hope it doesn't happen again. What's up, Maki Poo Poo? What's up? All the hellos back and forth. Do those quickly. Here we go. Yes, sir. Thumb it up, peeps. Still not that many people in the house tonight. 24 of you, only a couple of dozen. So slow night so far. People know I'm probably not getting started usually until like 30-40 minutes in, but we're gonna probably get started earlier tonight. It'll be interesting to see how many people end up watching this episode. I don't know. We have as a society, I think, when you talk about the news, the whole idea of how people seem to want to watch negative stuff more than positive stuff, because the negative stuff tends to be more exciting. So usually the first 5 episodes of this series within a series have been, showing the negative stuff to try to promote, what not to do. And tonight we're going to show rare positive examples, but we'll see what the viewers think, especially on Rewind, as the next 7 days go by. We'll see what people prefer to see, the wins or the losses. And I also wanted to say, also I'm sure that we're going to see successful flips tonight. That is true. That is true. Mostly. Some are kind of last week was fun and went on long, so all's good. I'm hoping, guys, tonight doesn't go anywhere near as long. And I want to say that because I was wrecked, man. No joke. From the chest up. What's up, Tony? Hopefully not, bro. Hopefully not. Hopefully more like closer to 3 than to 5 is what I'm hoping, But yeah, from like the chest up, I was physically sore. My throat was sore. My head was sore. Man. And the crazy thing is that after 5 hours of literally nonstop talking, I was still up until like just after 6 a.m. Then I went to bed. And then 7 hours after going to bed, I was out meeting Steve, B&G, who I don't see here tonight yet, for a lunch meet. And we proceeded to talk for another 5 hours. So in a 21-hour span, I spoke for like 10 hours of those 21 hours. It was pretty insane. So yeah, so I'm hoping, I think I'm a little bit more rested now, but I'm hoping, yeah, to make this a quicker night tonight. 15% of a marathon, indeed. Insanity sells, apparently so, Peter, apparently so. So to come on for a show, buddy, I picked a few nice real movie props to share. Now, you know what? You did that. You did that on Comic Art Live. If we do show and tell, I want it to be strictly show and tell for artwork. Not that I don't care to show your props, but I don't want to do the same thing you already did. So what I would do is, if you want, I'd be willing. I want to do with you. First of all, I would like to do a regular show and tell episode, just artwork. But then you can come back if you enjoy it. You can come back, and we'll do another show together, focused only on superhero movie props. That I'd like to do it that way, not sort of half-ass it. I figure if we're gonna give it attention, we'll give it the attention that it deserves. That's how I prefer to do it. Crazy long, exactly. But apparently people don't mind. Exactly. Yeah, like I said, over 700 views on a 664 member channel. So yeah, it's been very amazing, and everybody's been so good about it. Thank you. What's up, JC Padilla? So thank you to everybody. Disco Inferno, used to love that. You need to show successful flips so we can encourage more speculation buying. Hopefully nobody thinks that that's the point of tonight. The point of tonight's episode is still going to be the same as it always is, except showing it in different terms. Speculation will drive more art buying. Yeah, we have enough art buying in our hobby. Speculation is the engine for sure. So many newbies coming in the hobby, and it feels it's all just that. Like I said, we don't know, right? That's why I keep saying, what's up, Carlito? That's why I keep saying we don't know, and I really, really wish it would be so cool if some of the people who were the resellers of these pieces would reach out to me and say, hey, I wouldn't mind coming on and just explaining my thought process. That'd be so great, right? Put more info to give us more context to the thinking behind the decision making. That'd be great, but nobody's reached out yet. So since we don't know the real reason, we have obviously multiple reasons why they could possibly be doing that. We know many reasons. We just never know the one for every piece, unfortunately, you know. But I'm not sold. I'm not sold that it's speculation for the most part. You know, in my opinion, what's up, Dan? Dan's becoming a regular. Look at that, everybody. Give it up to Dan. Dan Goodwin, everyone. Thanks for dropping in again. Yeah, my thoughts on that are that I feel pretty strongly that the majority of the ones that we see resold less than 5 years on is due to those people, you know, not being, and we can, I think a lot of us are guilty of this, not carefully deciding if we should buy certain pieces or not, allowing ourselves to buy things we probably shouldn't. And then after a while, things we want more come up and we don't have the money or enough money or just don't want to spend the money. And so what do? Oh, let's look for things that we can sell to pay for the new thing. I think most cases, again, I have no way to know for sure, but I think in most cases, that's my gut feeling that that's what's happening in most of these examples, you know, when people resell. I think it's a lot more that than what you said about speculation. But some of it certainly is people, you know, rolling the dice for fun, for sure. We just don't know what the percentage is, you know, the percentage breakdown of people's reasoning, you know. So if anybody watching this, if you have seen any of these episodes, the previous 5 and tonight's 6, and you recognize any of these pieces, and you were the seller or the reseller of one of these pieces that we've shown, and you'd like to come on and talk to us about what your reasoning was, that'd be super awesome. So please consider it and reach out to me if that's the case. And yes, 5 hours is fun, but I pay for the next 2 days. Exactly. That's why, Tom. Exactly. What's up, Jason? No. Like I said, hopefully closer to 3. I enjoy the show longer the better. You see, and that's why I end up feeling guilty when it goes too long. But I love it, and I allow it to go long when I realize sometimes I want to cut it short, right? Like not short, but you know, shorter than they go. But then I'm like, it's, you know, beyond 4 hours, and I'm like, oh wow, for me that's like past midnight. And sometimes I'm looking at the viewers and I'm like, shit, there's not that many people that have dropped off. So obviously that means people are cool sticking around. So that makes me feel okay. I guess I'll keep going, you know, and they want to see it. Let's just keep going. Yeah. So that's the thing. But you know, it's by myself. It's really exhausting. So for that reason alone, I don't want to do 5 hours tonight. Between three would be great. 3 to 4, you know, I'd be happy. But I'm glad you're here, Tony. Thank you so much. So many coming in my stores wanting Pokemon cards recently. Really? That's kind of a strange thing to suddenly happen. The problem is apparent. And hellos back and forth again. All art is fun. Maybe I'll pick some cool toys instead. Nah, like I said, anything that's not art, we can do that on a. So if you want the second episode to be like a mix of toys, you know, toys and props, I'd be okay with that. But let's just do a strictly art show first, you know, but if you have enough toys, we could always, you know, like I said, if you enjoy it enough and people like to see a second episode just with props, we can just do props alone. And later you come back again and we can do toys alone if you want. It's just something different, you know. I've never done that. So that give us, you know, an extra couple of weeks of worth of shows to hang out and do something different with everyone. But yeah, man, we'll talk. Simpsons movie props. Yeah, you guys can discuss that. Everyone only has OJ. Some OJ, yes. I got the OJ action figures. The props, the knife and the glove. You know, the if they don't fit, you must acquit glove. Replica, of course. I haven't checked. Any episodes hit 1K yet? For me, my very, very first one ever, but that was a sales show, right? The very first one ever is over 1,000. I I think there might be 1, 2, or 3. Definitely no more than 2 or 3. Yeah, but again, with only currently to date 664 subscribers, right? So like that's pretty phenomenal. Like I always say, you know, most YouTube channels tend to get sort of a, you know, anywhere from 5 to 20% viewer to subscriber ratio. Yeah, so that's why I want to focus only on quality subscribers. That's why I tell people don't subscribe unless you're pretty sure you're going to come back to watch more. You know, then I know that if they come back and subscribe, they're going to probably watch. And I think that's why the views have been really, really strong compared to the number of subscribers that I have. And by the way, I did another data recount. I wanted to say that for the last 6 months, a new recount, for the last 6 months, the average episode number of views per episode is actually something like, what was it? I can't remember exactly, but 516, I think it was, or 500 and something like that. But it was over 500, which again, for a 664 subscriber channel, that's like out of this world phenomenal. So thanks to all of you. When I go to Heroes, trying to find hotel room for 2 nights. Our drive is boring. I like those drives. Have them come on and make them walk the shame walk. No, we wouldn't. I would never do that. I would never do that. My voice is your white noise. Say that you're trying to say you're falling asleep when you listen to me, Tony. I think you are. You can cut it short only if you know the audience has climax. Nice, Marcus. Got a catch on rewind. Quick hello, goodbye, and drop like. Thanks, John. What is up? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And good to see you. Look at that. Probably too late. He's gone. But anyways, all right. So let me go in and do a just quick couple of promos. And before I even do the promos, give you an update, guys. To give everybody an update. Because I haven't mentioned anything in a long time. Well, first of all, really quick, because I forgot to do this. This is already 2 weeks old. But in the last few weeks, I had a few extra subscribers. The only one whose name I could see was Cliff on comics. So thank you and welcome. And then a bunch more anonymous people whose names I couldn't see. Your own privacy settings on YouTube do not allow me. So I can't shout you out by name, but thank you and welcome. So yeah, what I wanted to let you guys know is, I haven't updated the story of Zyla Parsons. So for those of you who may not remember, Zyla Parsons is the daughter of Dan Parsons, a comic book inker, artist. And a couple years back, she, at the age of 18, was diagnosed with cancer. And I had not received any, I updated her story for, a year after that, whenever I could. And then she stopped updating publicly, and so I couldn't update publicly. And but I was happy, extremely excited to see some information from my friend Jeff Wedding that he posted as a comment to somebody on CAF, of all places, that based on her last scans, Zyla Parsons is now cancer-free. And in the past 16 months, she has also gotten married and is expecting a baby girl next month. So super, super excited to have heard that and announce it here to everybody else who isn't aware of that. So congratulations, Zyla. So happy for your health, your continued good health, and the beginning of your family, your 2-person family, soon to be a 3-person family. So good for you, and I wish you all the best. That's awesome news to hear. And okay, so now let me do a quick promo, because shock of all shocks, Nikki B, believe it or not, for the first time in months, the channel had his upcoming Friday show scheduled in time for me to grab the direct link and promote it here. So I'm pasting it here for everyone to check out. There it is in the chat right away. So that's very cool, Nikki B. And of course, for anybody who may not know, watching this for the first time, Nick Barucci, the publisher of Dynamite Entertainment, Dynamite Comics, who is also a comic art collector, an original comic art collector, has his own show on his own channel, the EXP, right here on YouTube. So it's youtube.com/theexp. Just do a search for The Original Art Experience and you will find the channel. And yeah, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. It is a combination sales show, an art claim show, if you will, and talk show. So lots of fun there to be had every week. Please do check that out. All right. And I do believe that Carl took a break this week, and last I checked, did not have any episodes this week. So that's it for the promos. Let me take a quick look, though. Oh, nope, I forgot. That's it for Carl, but there is indeed one more promo I would like to do, folks, if you will allow me. Here we go. Direct link to nsnart.com. That's Mike Dellery. This is a direct link to his YouTube channel. And he did another real quick video. And he is promoting an artist that he feels everyone should take a closer look at, if you will. And he found them on Instagram and got a few commissions done by him, which he showed on my episode of the Best of 2024 that you guys may remember in the first week of January this year. He was my co-host, of course, on that episode, but he and I started off the show showing off a piece of art. He showed a couple of pieces, and it was by Jay Gonzo. That's the name he goes by. And yeah, so please do check that out. And okay, let me jump back in to see you guys. Get Zyla on the phone. I'd like her to come in into the chat at some point. Hey, what's up, Mickey? And yes, absolutely great news. Yes. Oh, wow. Oops, sorry. Happy for her. Yes, absolutely. Me too. So many great things coming out of such a bad situation. It's always great to hear that, you know. Thank goodness, man, sketch cards helped. Yeah, I'm sure that's what did it. Exactly. Thank you, JC. And yes, XPE me. You're very welcome, Mike. You're very welcome. Great quick video. And Ian, what's good? Checking into place a like. Thank you very much. Can't stay. No worries. Hope you had a great weekend and have a great week. Thanks for dropping in to say hello, man. That guy talks too much when he's on your show. Which guy? Which guy are you talking about when he's on my show? But anyways, yeah, so it is just hitting the first half hour in, everybody. So let me take a quick look just to be sure I do not forget anything that I wanted to maybe talk about. I think the promos are done. For the first time, I couldn't say, for the first time in the last, I don't know, couple of months, I guess, I've actually got the plan for next week's episode already done. Now, look, typically, I don't like to do a lot of the same thing, you know, back to back to back. But as you guys know, you know, I've been struggling a lot. Trying to find people and stuff. And look, the honest truth is I've struggled so much trying to find people that I'm not really making much of an effort to reach out to people anymore anyways. So that's not helping. I think in the last month, I may have invited 2 different people. And so I've just found it kind of a little bit easier to just go ahead and prep shows on my own where I don't have to rely on wasting time looking for people. And waiting for them to get back to me and all that. But at the same time, that has meant that I've suddenly am doing a lot of this Stop the Insanity material back to back to back. And I have always believed in there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. I think when people really love something, what makes it continue to be special is if you can kind of stretch it out, you know, make people want to come back for more, right? And so that's my preference. But at the same time, I just feel like I'm still trying to keep from stopping doing the shows. And so just want to keep maintaining, you know, the weekly schedule and not dropping a single week of content. And that has meant that because I've got no guests or whatever, and it's difficult to do, you know, collector shows like show and tell. I suddenly am doing maybe a little too much too soon of the Stop the Insanity stuff. But just bear with me. Hopefully I can fit something else, one of the other series in soon. It does look like 2 weeks from now, I should have another episode of comic art commissions. So yeah, not next week, but the week after. But next week, what I wanted to lead up to is just to let you guys know that, and I'll show this at the end of tonight's episode again, but might as well just quickly to let you know that tonight, while we're showing the exceptions to the rule of people who made some money selling art quickly, next week I will be back with another episode of the usual type of the 85% of people and examples of resales that lose money at auction. So take a look at this. Once again, I have the amazing Susan Powder with me in spirit, though not in studio. And so yeah, that'll be next week. And again, I do apologize for maybe doing too much too soon. I would prefer to stretch it out more, but what can I say? Like I said, I'm struggling here, peeps. I'm struggling. So I'm coming up with whatever I can just to not take a week off, you know? So yeah, so that's that. And that guy talks too much when he's on your show. Oh, NSN talks too much. Got you, right. He knows he mouths off a lot, you know? Only got 7 minutes of commentary in me per video. Hey, it works. It works. You know, I like it. It's like the antithesis of what I do, so that's why I like it, you know? What's up? Sean Clancy in the house. What's good, buddy? I'm just really trying to make Susan Powder a thing. She's like my friend, you know? I just, you know, I'm going to give her some attention, even though she can't be with me here. So let me see. Hey, there's Sean. Hey, Sean. It's all fun. No, I appreciate it, but like I said, we'll see. We'll see if people start getting too tired of it. But if possible, I definitely would rather spread it out, you know? It keeps it feeling special, right? People, like I said, these seem to be people's favorite type of shows. So that's why I would rather, yeah, spread it out if I can. So I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's all good if someone loses an eye. Right on. What do you mean by that? Sounds like you missed a rant. No rants yet. We're just about to get into the show, though. So your timing's great there, Sean. Timing's good. All right. So I am getting a notification that, man, why does this always happen when I go live? That my connection apparently is not the greatest. So anyways, I am streaming in 1080 tonight for the first time rather than 720. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. I feel like it's a little bit clearer. But of course, that takes more bandwidth. And even at 720, I get these warnings, right? I always, for months now, I've been getting these warnings that my connection's not great for some reason. I don't know. So yeah, if my video or audio starts to get choppy or anything goes wrong with it, please let me know. just let me know in the chat. All right. Rant on. All right. So I think, yeah, I wish there is a filter. There is a filter for, I don't know, what does it say? It's doing something to your appearance. It kind of makes your face look smooth, but it looks, it actually looks obvious that you did something to make your skin look like there's no pores or whatever. Like it's really weird. Yeah. So like, yeah, no, I am who I am. Look, that's why you get to see all the red eczema here on my forehead. You get to see it looks like the map of America, actually. It's almost the same shape. So no, not me. You get what you see is what you get in person. So that's it. So anyways, all right. I've actually dropped like 3 or 4 viewers just talking a bit. People want to see the examples. Ruben the Popeye and the Baba Waba. And rest in peace, Baba Waba. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Real and raw. You got me. You got me. Yeah, so I'm going to queue up the slides, everyone. And we're just going to jump right into it. Let me see here. All right. Come on, guys, stop dropping out. Maybe people just don't want to see the winners. They want to see losers. They only like to see losers. It's like a train. It's like a train wreck, right? A car wreck, train wreck. They'd rather see that than just a bunch of cars driving along, being happy, unscathed. Okay. So let us take a look, everyone. Again, for anybody popping in, just popped in tonight. Tonight's show is still a part of the Stop the Insanity series within a series. The reason that you see in the thumbnail stating here that they stopped the insanity tonight, or did they? It means, obviously, for one night at least, you're not going to see the losers. You're going to see the winners. But the reason I also said, trust me, peeps, even a broken clock is right twice per day. That's because these winners are few and far between, and people keep doing what they're doing on these shows. Most of the time, they're going to keep losing. That's what the data shows. That's not just my opinion, all right? It's a data thing. Should a person slowly come up in the window behind you? Like it's some kind of horror show or something. All right. Your videos on this topic usually do very well in the rewind. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They're some of the best rewind views for sure. A lot of people like them. I know. That's why I didn't want to do too many back to back to back, because then I feel like it's too much of the good thing, and then people get tired of it. Trust me, folks, the winning is coming soon. There will be more winning examples next week, okay? I mean, sorry, tonight, more losing examples next week. Tonight, the winners. But we're going to learn a bit. We're going to look at the data, and we're going to see that even within the winners, there are some that are not quite winners. And we'll see that very, very, very shortly. All right. All right. So here we go, everybody. The first example in tonight's episode is a cover I really, really have always loved since the day it came out. Check this one out. So this is the cover to Captain America 324 by the amazing Mike Zeck, inked by John Beatty. Guys, check this out. Come on, guys. How do you not love this cover? Listen, let's get the bad news out of the way first. For me, I've said this many times before, I am not a fan of artists that cheap out and leave an empty background. I really hate that. So if there's anything negative to say about this cover, that's it. Okay, that to me, it does make a big difference. I'm never a fan of the blank background covers. At least put like energy lines, that makes it kind of interesting. But whatever, it is what it is. However, it's not, in a cover like this where the foreground and background characters are amazing. Yeah, the lack of background, it doesn't hurt me, too much. But what I love the best about this, check out Captain America's figure, man. This is like John Buscema level figure work. You know, just so smooth and natural. Great body movement. You know, the acting is impeccable here. The shading that he uses to emphasize the musculature, just all phenomenal work by Mike and John. And yeah, who doesn't want a cover with a couple of extra villains coming at him as well, right? So anyways, great cover. Let us see first what you guys have to say. Winners and Wieners, a great headline. Sweet, that's a winner. Yeah, it definitely is. Just dropping by to register my like. Thank you so much, Cab. I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much. Title them top 10s each week and show an anguished face in the thumb. And hellos. Smooth and natural without filters. Right on. Yeah, so this June 2021, think about this one thing, guys. This is the heart of COVID booming, right? Summer of 2021, COVID's booming. This to me was like a bargain, super bargain. I mean, yeah, I below $20,000, like super bargain in my opinion. All right, we'll see what you guys think. I'll see what your guesses are, and who is it signed to? I don't know. Too small for me to read. But yeah, let us see what happened. And hold on, before I show it to you guys, let me see. Good evening, Rich. What's good? Rich, still waiting for that photo. There was a show on overpaying for original art. I would be the star. There are constant comments on many pieces of artwork I have purchased. The comments on the pieces you have purchased are all positive. They're not lambasting you for paying too much. To crash, what does that mean? Hi, Rich. Hi, Peter. Hello. What's up, Lee Parmenter? What's good, bud? All right. So let us see what happened, everybody. So this gentleman took his $20,000 or sub $20,000 beautiful Mike Zeck cover from Captain America, and then 2 years, 10 months later, resold it at Heritage, and it sold for $33,600. Now that is a beautiful return on investment. Not that he was necessarily investing, but yeah, I mean, check it out. Even at Heritage, which, as you guys know, is the most onerous in terms of seller fees, right? Even after all the heavy fees are deducted, this guy was able to resell his $20,000 cover, recoup all his money less than 3 years later, and also get either $5,600+ profit, or perhaps as high as $8,400+ profit for either a 28, almost 29% profit or 43% profit. And for those of you who don't know, as it says right there, that depends on the seller fee. We don't know what seller fee these sellers have. So I'm going to jump back in to see you guys and see. Let's see. Oh, you're getting criticized on the chat. What chat boards though? I don't go to chat boards. You talking about CGC or something? I've been there, once or twice a year, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody lambaste you on those boards. I don't think you're lying though. Let me know. Crash Holly sold this. I don't know who Crash Holly is. You asked who the art was signed to, and it says to Crash. I see. Okay, so it's Crash. I don't know who Crash Holly is though. Talking kaboom flip. I don't think so. So you can sell after a couple of years. That 5-year stuff is nonsense. Don't listen to him, peeps. Don't listen to him. You've got a better than 85% chance of losing money Don't listen to Peter. And let's see what else. James. Hey, James. A-level pieces help generate A-level pieces help generate A-level returns. Well, the thing about it though, James, is that a lot of the stuff I've shown over the last 5 episodes have been things that you can consider A-level. A lot of A-level artists doing work on A-level titles on with A-level characters. So I've said it many times before. It's not like I'm showing crap stuff or bottom of the barrel examples of the great artists. You know, a lot of great stuff. So the data still shows that whether it's a great artist, great title, great character or not, most of the time you're gonna lose money. But yeah, these are exceptional returns tonight, and that was an exception to the rule for sure. By the way, James, I don't know how much time you have tonight, but if you can't stick around, be sure to catch on Rewind near the end, because I will have, we'll be ending the show with a few X-Men related examples, just for you. All right. Your piece shows up in the reward icon for George's Kickstarter. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. James makes a very good point. Not really, as I just explained. But yeah, I mean, again, listen, I think it's subjective in a sense, but I typically would think it's subjective, right? And I agree with that, generally speaking. But like I said, I think the data, we've shown enough data that shows that even with, you know, well, I've shown how many? 5, like about 75 examples so far, most of which are a combination of, you know, big name artists, big name characters, big name titles. And most of the time, if they sell within less than 5 years at auction, 85% of them lose money. So yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Alex says this cover was swiped by the Bonkers candy ad. Could be. And by the way, Alex, I don't know if you've ever answered in the past. I asked you, are you willing to come on camera? I got a show. I'm trying to do the 3rd episode, or was it? Yeah, the 3rd episode of my the new series, Comic Art Commissions. And I would like to. I've got a couple of collectors ready to come on in 2 weeks, 2 Sundays from now. And I would like the last episode when Yevgeny came on, I'd like somebody who's an artist to come on. So let me know if you'd be up for that next Sunday. Let me know here so I don't have to go reaching out for you. Because I don't remember if I was supposed to reach out to you already. I think we spoke when you popped in last week. I don't know. I can't remember, man. But please let me know. I also showed a 3rd Enemy Ace OAX commission. Ooh, yeah, those were awesome. Those were awesome. We're up and Stain's back. What's good, Sean? Maybe that Spider-Man neck cover sale pumped up interest in his work between the sales. Oh, Zeck cover sale. Yeah, no, Zeck cover sale. Yeah, I don't know. I think, look, like I said, I think 15% of the time, the data shows people will make money. I think it got lucky, especially throwing it at Heritage, right? Which on a resale that quick, it's tough. But like I said, I personally think the biggest reason he made money is not because it's a big name character, big name title, big name artist. I think it was just like the first thing I mentioned about that piece when I showed it, when I popped it on screen. The first thing I said? I love the cover, but look at the price, 19, sub 20 grand. I just think the biggest reason is because he bought it well. He got it so cheaply. I think what it resold for was actually also a little below average of what they had been selling for over the last few years, you know? But I think it's within that average range. So I think what it resold for is the right price, you know, within that range of the right price. And that's why he made money. He bought it way under value and was able to sell it. Now, he got it so cheaply that it was able to make money. It was almost guaranteed it was going to make money. So that's how I see it. I think that James is referring to what we would consider A+ pieces. Well, again, but that's subjective. That, you know, what you think is A+, somebody thinks is only A, you know, that whole thing. I mean, it's pointless to really discuss that, you know. Also have to not forget, pieces are rare because the artist rarely sells or pieces from certain titles never appear. But those factors do not seem to be the thing that is happening in the examples that I show, you know. In fact, I've even shown some examples of pieces which are rare, like Walt Simonson art, including Thor pages that lost money, you know. I mean, you can't get rarer than that, you know. It's hard to get rarer than that. So, and what is A or A+? Of course, absolutely. All right, my luck is much better than 15%. Well, good for you. I you know, but you know what, James? Also, the thing is, another factor we don't talk a lot about, obviously, you know, you don't want to start talking about people. But another factor is there's so many variables, right, that we can't get into all of them. There's a lot of minutia we can't get into. But one of those variables also is the knowledge of the people doing this, right? Reselling their artwork less than 5 years after owning it at auction, right? The knowledge level, how much time they spend, you know, invested in their hobby. You know, you've been in not that long, like less than a decade still. You're still like in it. You're still young enough within the hobby. I don't mean by age, your own age, but you know, time served, right? You're a veteran, but like a young veteran. And I think that, well, I don't think, I know that you've always been gung-ho, just like I was, you know, when I first got in. You're so deeply invested into the hobby, right, that you do your homework. The thing that I keep preaching to people, do your homework. Stop thinking that other people should do it for you. Spend the time it takes to learn the values of stuff, looking for comps, you know. So you're one of those guys. So I would expect someone like you, absolutely, to do way better than most people, because most people don't do their homework. That's the thing, you know. So there you go. So props to you for being one of the sort of minority of collectors who has always been willing to put the time in, you know. 50% is good enough. To share my same message boards, I criticize Cab. Yes, sir. That's me. Massage boards greater than message boards. This is true. I give credit where it is due, and I know that is true. And obviously you do too, because it's you. I wish I could. I'll be out of town. Future show for sure. Okay. No worries, Alex. Thank you. Keep you in mind for a future one. All right. Let us jump to the next example, everyone. And so the second one is this. Rare, yet niche. Very niche. Title. Cult following, though. Check it out. So we have a very early cover, issue number 15 of Cerebus, the Aardvark. So this is really, really cool. What you could say is pretty much, you know, the comic book that kicked off the independent comic book boom, if you will, 1977. And yeah, May 2020, about 3 months into COVID, but like I would say the first month where people started dropping money like it was nothing. And yeah, so this one sold on Heritage for $14,400. To be perfectly honest, at the time, I was a bit surprised that, I know it felt strong, but then again, we never really saw a lot of Cerebus covers. We saw enough pages, but covers are pretty rare on the open market, you know? And so yeah, so I at the time thought, okay, yeah, I don't know, I guess that's what it's worth, you know? That's your consignment, Rick? You mean You were the one who consigned it, you were the one who sold it and received the 14,400, or minus the fees. Let us know to clarify that. That's awesome to know. What's up, TJ? Oh, you recently. Oh, so this is coming back up for auction. Wow, interesting. All right, well, that's cool. This will make another one of my episodes again, then, I guess. It remains to be seen if it'll be one of the winners or the losers, right? And yeah, great image and early cover. Absolutely. This is fantastic. It's a great example for sure. So just to clarify then, Rick, you bought this. You were the one who bought this one, right? At the price I'm about to show. Had them sell the color guide separately too, so even better. Excellent. All right, well, let's check it out, everyone. Let's see what happened here. And as Rick states, he picked this up for 14,400. Or sorry. The person before him sold it, got 14,400, and then $4 years, 11 months later. So check this out. This is very interesting data, everybody. So in April of 2025, right? So essentially 1 month short of the magic 5-year mark. So which, I always say it's not an exact science. So right around the 5-year mark, and check it out. It was held for 5 years and then sold at Heritage. And it took the 5 years to barely start making a profit, which again goes to show everything that we've been trying to show with the data, which is that it is around the 5-year mark when, in most cases, you start to show profit when you're reselling at auction at 5 years or less. Because check it out, if this person had to pay even a moderate 10% seller fee, he had to wait 5 years just to net $900, right? So he's only just starting to finally get into the profit range. And sure, if he was lucky enough to have no seller fee at all, then he took in $2,600. But remember, 5 years later, on an investment of over $14,000, it's okay, but nothing special to come home with $2,600. But again, you're not investing, right? As long as the person bought it because they loved it, held it for 5 years, then you got all that enjoyment out of it. And if you took in $2,600, then all is good, So there you go. Okay, so I want to clarify here because there's some confusion as to what is going on, because so you were the one who bought it in 2020 for $1,440. But you're saying you're going to be selling it, didn't you? But this shows us that it already sold literally like less than 2 months ago. So are you saying you are the one who sold it here? You sold it and you're the one who either made 900 or 2,600, Rick? Let us know, because yeah, clarify that for me, please, Rick. Yeah, because if you bought it in 2020, because I could have sworn you said that you were selling it soon, which doesn't make sense because it just sold, what, 6 weeks ago or something? Yeah, so please clarify if that sale was yours. And I had a 0% seller fee certificate from when I bought it. Okay, so you're the one who netted the 2,600. Can you just confirm that? If so, thank you. Yay! That would be awesome. I want to hear that that's yours, because I could swear that you had actually had said, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Carl? It's good, dude." let's see. You had said, where is it? I'm looking for it. Where did it choose? Where was that? Oh yeah, that you recently okay, you said you recently consigned. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. So, and then here we go. The recent sale was mine. Right. Thank you. So there you go, Rickster. Good job, man. Good job. You held on just long enough. Only sold it because you picked up the Cerebus 52 cover. Nice. See? Good reasoning. There we go. Our first example, even though it's not on screen, but our first example of a reseller whose art we showed on this series, who has come forward and told us it was them. And I appreciate that. Thanks, Rick. That's awesome. That's amazing. So really, really glad to hear that. So, and congrats on getting the other Cerebus cover for sure. And Rick's experience also demonstrates that experience counts. Well said. Sometimes a seeming loss on one gets you another piece that appreciates even more in value. Sometimes, but it's impossible to generalize. Absolutely. Yeah, no, very welcome. Yeah, absolutely, Rick. Absolutely. Good going, man. It's nice that it turned out in both ways. You know, you pick up another cover that you like more, you get rid of the first one, and get your money back, plus some extra scratch for your pocket. So good for you, man. That's awesome. All right, let's keep it rolling, everyone, and go to the next example of losers can sometimes be winners. And for this next one, we have art by David Mazzucchelli and Danny Bulanadi from Daredevil 213, I believe Denny O'Neil. And so let me know right away, guys, what do you think about this? Like I've talked about this art before. I love Mazzucchelli. To me, over the years, I've found, you know, as I've studied his work, I feel he's right up there artistically with what he did, with what Miller did on his Daredevil run. He's an amazing artist. And although I do prefer his own inks, I still do really enjoy the stuff that Bulanadi did. And I think here, $3,000, just barely over $3,000. I think for a page from Mazzucchelli's run with Daredevil, like literally all over the page, right? 7 panels. I think he's in 6 out of 7 panels. Outstanding. I think it's a really great page with a nice establishing shot at the top, especially. I think that's cheap. I think $3,000, a little over $3,000. That's cheap. I think there's I think there's very few things in this hobby that I feel are still kind of undervalued to a degree, that still have more room to move upward in the near term, more than almost anything else. And I think Mazzucchelli Daredevil pages are one of them. I think the one thing that has held them back tremendously in comparison to Frank Miller's run pages, aside from the fact that, Miller sort of redefined the storytelling aspect, the visual storytelling, but he also became the writer, and that run became even greater as a read. So from 168 with Elektra's introduction onward, it was not only really cool visually storytelling wise, but the stories themselves became phenomenal, and so he's got that working for the artwork. It adds value to a lot of value to the artwork. Whereas as good as Denny O'Neil was his entire career as a writer, he didn't have that moment in the sun where he just got on a title and boom, everybody was raving about the stories, and for that reason alone, I think that's one really big thing that will always keep the Mazzucchelli Daredevil page run from a run of pages from ever getting anywhere near close to the Miller stuff. However, it's really, really nice, enough quality that I believe it's still way, way undervalued in comparison to the Miller stuff, you know. So let me pop that back up there, and I'm going to see if a few of you guys are saying anything about that. A little science, but lots of art. That's true, Cab. Decent page. Wow. A level or B level. I mean, it depends how you look at it. See, you get one guy saying B, you get another guy saying B plus. With that imagery, I would say A is fair, A minus perhaps. Not a great supply of his D work. That's true. Combination, there should be a profit. Apologies, everyone. Have to check out. All right, have a good one. Enjoy. Thank you for dropping in and hanging out for a few minutes. Anyways, Cab, thank you. Have a great week. So yeah, let's see what happened. You got no. Okay, well, nobody told me what you thought about the prices, but anyways, what you thought about the values. But like I said, I still think these pages are cheap and have a lot more room to grow. Let's see what happened here. So March of 20. Remember, guys, this is like a year ago, barely a year ago. So March of 24, paid $31.20, and then 9 months later, sent it to Comic Link, and it sold for $3,550. So a negligible amount higher. If we look at here, $31.20 to $35.50. When you take the 10% seller fee away, that left the reseller with a whopping $75 net profit, or in percentage terms, whopping 2.4%. So it came within a hair's breadth of losing money, and this example would otherwise have been shown in one of my other the Stop the Insanity episodes. It would have been in maybe next week's episode instead of tonight's episode. So yeah, so one thing to keep in mind here, everyone, is like, sure, I'm showing, just so you know, in the Stop the Insanity series, it's always 15 examples. And tonight, because it took me 8 months, that's how long I've been doing the Stop the Insanity series. It took me 8 months just to come up with enough examples of winners, to find enough winner examples to do one show of winners. I ultimately had 16. So I was going to leave one of them out, you know, in hopes that I could find eventually another 14 to add to the one left over and do another episode somewhere down the line. But I'm like, geez, it takes so long to find winners that I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just include the extra one. So there's 16 examples tonight. But look at that. Out of the 16 examples, this is the first one, you know, where we can say, is it really a winner? When you're spending over $3,000 and then you're risking that investment, if you will, at auction only 9 months later, that's a pure gamble, you know. And to come away with what is essentially, you know, $75 to me, that's break even. It's really not a win. Yeah. That's what I was telling you guys at the beginning of the show. There's a few examples tonight we're going to see where it's not real. They're qualify as wins because there's green on the screen. I can't really, in realistic terms, call that a winner, you know. So let's see. Good night. Oh, Whopping. Sweet. Going to Sizzler? I don't know what that is. Oh, Sizzler, is that the place at OAX? Is that what it is? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, thank you, Rich. Thank you. So thank you, everybody. Yeah, please. Sorry. There's 41, by my count, 41 people here currently. So if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up icon, that's somewhere beneath where I'm pointing. If you're watching, that'd be great. That means there's only 3 people watching who haven't clicked it yet. So if you don't mind doing that, you don't need to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd appreciate it. If you want to, that's fine, but you don't have to. But yeah, I'd appreciate the thumbs up. That'd be cool. And it's break even at well, exactly. Well, that's my point, right? That's my point. When you're taking that kind of a risk 9 months later, Mike, it's like lose 75. I still count it as a break even. Like it's a loss, but it's so negligible that I would still say, whatever, break even, right? Sort of the same thing. So it's kind of like waste of time, especially for the risk you took. A lot can happen in 9 months. Exactly. Cheap steakhouse. Oh, Sizzlers is a cheap steakhouse. Thank you. Yeah, we don't have that here. All right. So yeah, and keep track for me in case one of you will keep track to see how many of these examples tonight are going to be examples that we realistically can't really truly be proud to say, oh yeah, that was a winner, like that, where it's like barely made any money, that kind of thing, especially given the risk that was involved. Let's try to keep track of how many examples out of the 16 are like that, okay? And that'll give us a truer picture as to how many tend to be winners and versus losers, Okay, so this next one, this is fun, something we don't see too often, and it is some nice romance art. All right, so let's check that out here. So girls' romances. This is from issue 134. It is the title splash, and quite lovely. I like it. This sold in December of 2023, so about a year and a half ago. And at Comic Connect, Jack Sparling and Bernard Sachs are the artists. They had the whole story, I remember. They had the whole story, and they broke it up and sold all the pages separately. So the very best page, I guess this one, only sold for $472.65. And I say only simply because, given the fact that it's quite old, and romance comics have gained in popularity over the last several years. And in artwork, certain romance art pages have also been gaining in value. It's kind of surprising that a nice splash like this only sold for less than $500, but it is what it is. And so let's see. Oh, Tom, you think this went really, really cheap? Interesting. Yeah, to me it seems like very much a lot of value for the money was in this one, but I wasn't super positive about how much it could be worth, to be honest. I was thinking maybe $1,000, $1,200, something like that. But yeah, I wasn't really feeling too strongly about it because I don't follow the romance art too closely. Marcelo, what's good? Good to see you drop in, man. Sparling did so much. What's up, Scotty? He must have done a book a day. I don't know. Did he do a lot? Nice. It is nice classic romance, CJ. Yeah. But okay, let's see what happened here. So after buying it for just under $500, this gentleman proceeded to resell it 6 months later and sent it to Heritage, of all places, which is pretty risky, given how they have the largest fees that will come off for the seller. But because it essentially sold for 2.5 times what he paid for it, that's where the luck came in at $1,320. Even when you take into account the seller's fees, right? Even if he got a 10% seller fee tacked on, he still netted $517. So he still doubled, at least more than doubled his money, and only 6 months later. So I think it was a big gamble to resell it that quickly. And again, to Heritage, because of the fact that Heritage's selling fee structure is so onerous, that was a massive risk. But yeah, I guess like you were saying, Tom, the fact that it was bought so cheaply, I guess it kind of pushed the odds in his favor. I appreciate it, Marcelo. Thank you, bud. From Roy Lichtenstein's reference file. It's a nice page to buy for the wife. Romancing the montage. Up, 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 up. Rocket Blast. Comic collector. Risky business indeed. Yeah, so yeah, I think this is yeah, good, but at the same time, you know, good for you, whoever you were, Mr. Reseller. But yeah, so you know, we were talking earlier about the reasons why some of these, you know, or all of these people that resell quickly resell, and of course, as we can agree, there are many reasons. You guys know what I think is the primary reason, but I will also say that in the cases such as this one, where the resale happens really quickly, like within months, and especially if they bought it at one of the smaller auction houses, I think in most of those cases, I think it's fair. Most of us would probably agree that in those cases, the resales happened because the person, you know, got it for what seemed like a cheap price on a smaller auction house and figures, oh, I can make some money with this, right? And so the whole intent was, yeah, let me buy it because I think I can make money on this. You know, in those cases, I absolutely agree that it's most likely that. Again, unless these people you know, come forward and speak out, we'll never know. But I believe that in those cases, yeah, that's the most likely reason, you know. The seller must have had a few buyers reach out. You think? I don't know. Because did he, you know, when he after he bought it, did he post it? That's the thing. Was it posted anywhere? Did anybody know who had won it? So even though Sparling is known, he isn't known. He isn't known. I would be holding my breath. Right. But really, honestly, TJ, it's romance art. Honestly, the majority of romance art was not done by big name artists. So it doesn't really matter. For romance art, the key is just having nice images of the young ladies, or having very prototypical sort of embrace, you know, the embrace with the, you know, dip of the man and the woman, you know, in the arms, you know, the classic romance, you know, depictions of romance. You get beautiful images like that. That's what people tend to want. And in that case, regardless of the artist, as long as the imagery looks nice, yeah, they're getting it primarily for the imagery. So not really the artist. Todd McSparling, right? Okay. So there's another one down, and how many we got? Another 12 to go or so. Hey, one thing that a new piece of data I'm just realizing, guys, is that this type of show where we show the winners, there's a lot less opinions I'm seeing happening, and therefore I have a very good feeling that we could make only a 3-hour episode tonight. Yeah, people, it just goes to show, I think people love to see the losers for some reason. They love negativity. We'll see. I always speak too soon, and then when I think it's going to be 3 to 4 hours, then it still ends up being 5. But I don't know. It's looking good for maybe less than 3 right now, anyways. Okay. Let me see what is next. What is queued up? Yes. Okay. This is something I'd like to talk about, and I hope you guys have some opinions on this. Okay. So what we have coming up as an example next, in fact, the next 2 examples, is DC horror/mystery titles, right? And I want your opinions. I want to get your opinions on, especially those of you who've been around a minimum of 25 years, okay? I want to get your opinions, but let's take a look at the first one first, all right? Because this is one of the rare examples that I found. It's a quick turnover, but it's an example of a purchase and a resale from a long time, like a long time ago. It's probably the oldest one I've ever shown on this series. So let's check it out. All right, House of Secrets, number 116 cover. And this was purchased in April of 2004. And it was purchased at Heritage for $575 by Luis Dominguez, of course, who did a lot of these. All right, it's a fun cover. I love that skeleton, creepy skeleton in the back. So this, if you guys, those of you who, sorry for the interruption, everybody. CJ, you're scaring me. You're scaring me. I will say that I am getting a notification that my connection is not so strong right now. Spooky indeed. Spooky indeed. So the Rickster says 6K today. 2004. Is that more than 5 years ago? I don't know, man. Calculate it. Nice price. So here's the thing. I forget, Tom. Tell me when you started collecting art, because I forget. It is a really cool cover. I will say that. But before I show you what happens here, the reason I wanted you guys who've been around, for at least 25 years or more, to speak up is because what I remember in the 2004 era is that the DC mystery horror title covers, first of all, they're plentiful. They've always been plentiful. Nobody wanted them, right? Very few people cared. And so you could get them like in the early 2000s, right? Like that's mid 2000s, early like 2001, 2002, 2003. You could still get them for between $275 and $400, So then they moved up a bit here, 2004, 2005, 2006. But look at what happened here. And this is what my memory is not clear enough. I'm thinking that this example of a resale is an outlier. But I'm hoping somebody, at least one of you who has a better memory for what these things were going for in 05, 06, and in that time period, can tell me if this is an outlier that's out of whack, or if it just became the new norm, that this was the value, the going rate, okay? And, sorry, I'll get to you in a second. My internet is wigging. Feed looks fine by me. That's good to hear. Thank you for letting me know, John. Nice book. Rights and Something page back then, 5 to 7. Wow. You should go after Rights and instead back then. Right. So check this out, everybody. Check what happens out here. It's got to be an outlier. You guys let me know what you think. So again, real quick, 2004, $575. And then this. 2.5 years later, it suddenly sells for $3,107 at Heritage. So imagine this thing blasted off so much and so high that even at Heritage, even if the guy, losing the obviously the top 20% buyer fee, plus let's say he had a 10% reasonable seller fee, in 2.5 years, he still pocketed not only his money back, his $575, but he also took in $1,765 profit on top of it for a 306.96% profit margin. Like, that's out of this world amazing, And of course, as you see, if he was lucky enough to have a no seller fee deal, well, clearly he made even more than that. But tell me what you guys think, because wow. So Caesar, hey, what's good, Caesar? 2004, nobody was buying them. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nobody really cared, especially Luis Dominguez. Cardi had some cachet. Exactly. That's true. That's true. But just because Cardi was hot at the time, right? The publication of his art book kind of put his name out there on the spotlight again. And so that's why, people were buying almost anything Cardi did, Seems like funny business. Yeah. Two guys getting caught up. I don't know. But that's the thing. I just wondered if maybe, I guess the question I'm asking is, to the best of your memory, Rick, Caesar, I know you two guys, Marcus, I know you guys at least have been you were around back then and even longer. So the question I'm asking, is it possible that that result was one of those results where after everybody saw that, all of a sudden every DC mystery horror cover suddenly also started, like, did it start a trend, and did they all start selling for maybe an average of $3,000, you know, and that's kind of where it stayed for many years after that? Like, that's what I'm asking. I don't remember it that way. I don't think so. I want to believe it still stayed in the several $100 range average for several more years, but my memory is unclear on it, you know. So a Neil Adams House of Mystery cover would have been around $8K back then. Okay. But, you know, $8K for a big name artist makes you know, an average artist mystery cover seem normal at $3K, because that's essentially, you know, a third of the price of the big name artist, right? It makes sense that the big name artist mystery cover would be 3 times more expensive. You know, Hydra started buying. I don't know if he was buying them back then. I don't think he was buying them back then yet. But I don't see. That's why we're going to finish early tonight, guys. No opinions. No opinions. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, let's take another quick look. Yeah, man, check it out. 2.5 years later, 3107 in November 2006. $3,000 for a DC early 70s mystery cover. I don't know. It just feels strong. Feels strong. But since there's nobody with, not many people with opinions, or at least a better memory than me willing to give an opinion, I don't know. We'll just move on. The next example that I got here to show you guys, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, is not only another DC mystery cover. Interestingly and coincidentally enough, it is another House of Secrets cover, another Luis Dominguez cover, and another cover that is literally only 3 issues away from the one we just saw. Interview Steve Crozier and ask him, I don't remember. You think it was an outlier? Yeah, yeah, that's it. We're feeling the same, but we're not sure. Show us the X-Men. I'll have an opinion. All right. So yeah, let me show you this second House of Mystery cover, and this is from later, and we'll see what happens here. So check this one out. Interesting. All right. So purchased, well, I guess sold and purchased just 7 months ago, and in December 2024 at Comic Link for $3,200. All right, this one. And I got to tell you, this is a goofy one. To me, this is just goofball galore. Aside from the cool shadow creature, right? I love the shadow creature, but ultimately, you know, it's just a shadow creature in the background. Watumba, all these other Watumba guys in the front that are running for their lives. They look silly. The guy in the costume looks super silly. So here's another weird opinion. So this is early enough, right, or recently enough, right? This is like that I consider this present day example. December 2024, so just 7 months ago. I was thinking, tell me what you guys think right away of that price, because I was thinking when it sold, I watched that auction. I thought, okay, yeah, sounds good to me. About $3,000. That's what a mystery cover should sell for from DC. You know, Luis Dominguez sounds good. You know, because when you take into account that 70s Justice League, Superman, Batman covers are only like $8,000, $9,000. You know, $3,000 for a mystery cover seems like about right. You know, so that's my view, but I'm not sure. It seems like I'm wrong. Cover stayed around $1.5K. Okay, so they moved up to 1.5K. Thanks, Caesar, and then stayed there for a long time. All right. Oh shit! What did I say? That might be racist. Oh, the cover. You mean the cover? Oh, you mean my Watumba? The Watumba? No, 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 no. That was an inside joke from Marcus specifically. You can fact check me on this. There's a couple of pieces, or at least one, on a Superman pieces by Tom Grummett. I believe the first one that comes to mind is in Southern Comic Geeks Gallery. I believe Jason Richardson, and there's a bunch of natives, and they're all screaming "Watumba, Watumba," and Superman's like yelling at the natives, and they're all saying "Watumba." And so in the comments, Marcus and I had a little Watumba back and forth. So that's what I was doing. I wasn't being racist. So semi-racist by today's standards. No racist. I'm all about all different cultures and backgrounds, always. Okay? I am the child of immigrants myself. I got, no racism here, not a bone in my body. So obviously only loser books get comments and interactions. Some would avoid. Hydra does love his covers though, and really horror's the quickest growing hobby. Is it? Seems like a fair price. Natives aren't too offensive. Wait, what's up, Stanley? No co-host. It looks like I'm going to do these shows solo from now on. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Stop trying to get Ruben canceled. Exactly. I don't want the channel to suddenly get like canceled. Oh, that's funny. Ezra being white is more racist. Referring to the government. Okay, that's whew. All right, so let's take a look at what happened, and you'll see why I'm asking. Okay, so quick reminder: $3,200 just 7 months ago. And again, this brings up the question: 7 months ago, why would you throw this back for sale, and why would you throw it back up at an auction house? Picked up at Comic Link, I believe sold at Heritage, but let's check it out. Look at what happened here, guys. Ba-boom! Holy smokes. Holy smokes. 4 months later, guys. 4 months later. So even at Heritage, the guy tripled his money. Well, I should say, the increase is just I don't know. Sorry, I'm at a loss for words because I'm looking at the numbers and I'm staring at the 10.8. I'm like, how did that happen? So yeah, it's basically a tripling, right? In terms of comparing the sales prices, right? So the sales prices just tripled. Obviously, you're not going to triple your profits because of how heavy the auction fees are, right? Apparently so, Tom. Apparently so. And TJ says definitely an outlier. Someone had insider information. Yeah, but inside information about what? What would the insider information be? Dan, what are you bootlegging this week, buddy? Conspiracy theory waiting to be told. Essentially, yeah, I would think so. A new buyer better keep this one for fun. That's what I say, Rick. Let us, there's always something to learn on these shows, and that's one of those things. That racist angle helped it. I don't know about that, but yeah, man. I feel like I'm flabbergasted. It's like the guy knew something. It really is like the guy knew something. It's like, oh, I know there's a collector out there who will buy and pay any money for any cover that has natives on it or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what the hell? Yeah. So imagine pocketing $5,000 after getting back your 3,200, and on top of it being rewarded with over $5,000 or more if the guy had a better deal with Heritage. Holy shit, that's just out of this world. But here's the thing, as I keep saying, we can all learn stuff from these examples, right? So TJ pointed out, let me get that back up there, right? Because TJ, and I don't have it to show you, right? Because it wasn't an example of a loss or a win. It was just a recent sale, right? I just saw a recent sale of another cover, okay? Same type of cover, 70s, early 70s DC mystery horror, that also recently sold for around $10,000. WTF? What's that all about? Like, one time is an outlier, but 2 times in quick succession? Now you got to start wondering, like, is this the new norm? Why would they? Why? Anybody have any good reason you could think of? Exactly, right? Anybody with good reason that you can think that? Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. And wow, Caesar. Wow. The last Dominguez ghost cover sold for $26,000. Exactly. That's even worse than $10,000, like 2.5 times worse. Somebody tell me what's happening. This is what I'm saying. When you see 3 consecutive examples, all within less than a year, of the same type of art by the same artist, selling for $10,000 to $26,000, one example is an outlier. Even 2 examples might just be crazy coincidence. But 3 examples now? I mean, wow. There's a treasure map when you hold it up to the light. There might be. Would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those pesky natives. Big pygmy collectors out there. Watumba. There you go. Yeah, it's crazy. James and Jason are going to start buying these up. Who says I don't already have a stack? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, guys. Man, can you imagine at 10K? Imagine they're still, because I would have bet my bottom dollar that I was going to be using the 10K example. Like I was thinking, oh yeah, at some point in the next 5 years, this thing's going back at auction, and I'm gonna for sure have this as an example of a massive loss resold at Heritage, probably, But imagine there's room for upward movement on these things at $10,000 purchase price. Holy shit. That I can't, it's hard to believe. I'm not touching them. I'm staying as far away as I can from these things. Even if I was in the mood to start, speculating or investing in art, I would stay as far away as I could from those at anything remotely close to those prices. I still don't even feel like I would start buying them at $3,000. I mean, that's crazy. Not exactly hot issues. Did Dominguez pass away? Get put in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, who knows, man? I got no idea. Those are just crazy stuff. But all right, let's move on. Let's keep it going. And let me see, where are we here? We are, yes, all right. So we are heading back to Marvel, everybody, for comic art from a title that has been very, very popular for many, many years. And like most things, got super, super popular when COVID hit. Let's take a look. It's a really nice page. From Infinity Gauntlet, purchased about 6 months into the COVID spending boom in September of 2020 at Comic Link. Picked up for $5,250. It's a Ron Lim Joe Rubinstein from issue 5. Some nice Surfer and Warlock images here. Every panel has them. Plus the bonus of a little nice close-up of a Thanos cameo, right? So $5,250. And I guess this must have been just before they started booming during COVID, right? Yeah, you wish. Yeah, you wish, Caesar. This one sold well. I wanted this one, but lost out. Oh, yeah, back then? Well, but then again, if you think it sold well, why did you stop? Why did you stop at less than 52.50 if you think this was still an affordable price at the time? Tom, maybe that was all your budget could afford at the time, and that makes sense, you know. Oh, recently. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's show what happened here, everybody. So this gentleman had it at 52.50 and then resold it again at Comic Link for a beautiful, beautiful $15,600 sale. So, you know, I mean, this is almost a triple, though. It's literally $150 short of becoming an exact tripling of the sales prices, right? So 150 bucks. So you can call it basically a triple. So yeah, pretty amazing. And even after the fees and once the reseller's cost is taken out, this gentleman profited 167.5%, or in net terms, $8,790. I'm very pleased to see, though, everybody, check it out. Look at the date. Very pleased to see that, unlike most people in the examples we've been showing, you know, on this series, that he at least held on for 4.5 years. So close, you know, one of the closest examples to the 5-year minimum rule. Yeah. So, yeah, good for you, whoever you are, reselling this one. I think that's, yeah. Wow, sick. Yeah, for no Thanos. Well, cameo Thanos. A limb. Yeah, it's a great page, though. It's a great page. Yeah, cameo, but still there, right? We need to get on the comic book art hobby. By the stars. Someone finally caught up watching Avengers Endgame and wanted it badly this time around. Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? But yeah, this is pretty outrageous, right? But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. It's funny. Money for nothing and the chicks for free. I always got them for free, CJ. I never had to pay. So here's the interesting thing, guys. So let's focus now. Okay, really well done. Let me applaud. All right. Let me applaud to you, the reseller. Fantastic, right? Great job. You lucked out big time because, you know, you after 4.5 years, and with the COVID boom, I mean, the timing was really working in his favor. You know, everything worked in his favor. COVID boom, which you couldn't have expected, plus holding on for 4.5 years. That's always going to, the longer you hold, the more it's going to help you in, you know, most of the time. So things were obviously going to be likely to work out for him positively. So that's not a shock. The only shock is just how strongly he benefited. But every what is it about silver cloud? You know, every cloud has a silver lining, right? But what's the opposite to that? Because at the same time, I feel bad. And what do I mean by that? And I am being serious here. I feel bad because, you know, again, not that it's my fault or my business, but I can't help thinking, looking at this, that the person who now owns this and spent $15,600, again, we don't know what's going to happen because we can't tell the future. But I feel like it would be very, very fortunate if he held on for 5 years, sent it to auction, and was able to do anything other than lose money on it. I sincerely feel that. So I'm whoever you are who bought that, I hope you truly, truly loved it and didn't just get carried away. I hope you hold on to that for at least 10 years minimum or more. Because I feel like that price is going to be hard to get your money back on particularly if you decide to send it to auction. Yeah, so, you know, we'll see. We'll see, I guess. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't. Hopefully we won't have to see. Hopefully he holds it, you know, for a long, long time, right? Can't wait for this to come up for auction again. Bound to happen. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I hope not, right? Tony, back again. What's up? A couple of Gauntlet pages sold on Comic Link last week. 56 and 43. I know. Did you guys notice that? I suddenly started thinking, oh, what's happening with Gauntlet? Like, suddenly they're selling for way lower than they used to over the last few years, you know? And you're right. Exactly what you said, Tony. They were not A+ pages. They weren't even A pages. I don't know. Maybe they were C+, B, B-, you know, something like that, whatever it is. But like you say, they were George Perez pages. Yeah, I was very surprised as well. I thought, wow, that's kind of weak. Surprisingly, somewhat weak, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if they appear again, you know. Every dog does indeed have its day. But Maki, come on, he overpaid a bit. What up? Yeah, man. It's always great to see you, man. I'm happy to see you dropping in. You must love this series, I guess. But yeah, a bit. I don't know. What does everybody else think? Is that overpaying a bit? I don't know. I don't know. I'm unlike a lot of you guys, maybe a lot more of you who watch on Rewind. You know, I've seen a lot of this stuff cross my path, and I've saved the scans on a lot of it just out of nostalgia for the when I read it back when it came out. But I didn't usually keep track of the prices when I saved the scans. So I you know, I'm not all that closely familiar with the prices to know, you know, when is it like somewhat overpaid or just a little overpaid, or you know what I mean? I'm not really sure. Cosmic Karma, don't come cheap. Apparently not. You haven't hit 5 years collecting, so no sales. Good, Tony. Do your best to be more picky and try not to give in to buying pieces that are like squirrels that just cross your path and jump in front of your path out of the blue. Because a lot of the quick reselling has to do with that, you know, where you're like, oh yeah, I love that. Oh yeah, okay, I'm flush with cash. Okay, I'll buy it. You know, and then quickly later down the road, something else comes up they need money for, and suddenly it's like, ah, shit, I should have known about that other thing. You know, I would have had the money. Okay, I still want this thing more though, so I'll just sell that other thing. You know, I'll resell that other thing. You know, and that's why I think a lot of the reason is for that. You know. So yeah, a lot of us can certainly stand to practice. That's one thing we can all learn, is try to practice to avoid chasing squirrels, avoid reaching out for them when they cross our paths, you know? Okay, let me hit the next example. Another great artist, popular comic coming up here. In fact, a double dose, everybody. A double dose, and I will explain a little later what I mean by that. Let's check out the first one, and then we'll see what I'm talking about. So, Longshot, number 5, page 9. A beautifully illustrated page by the amazing Arthur Adams and Whilce Portacio. And this particular one is really a Dr. Strange page. You don't have Longshot, I get that, right? But you've got some nice Dr. Strange content with Wong. And yeah, so this one was purchased at the thick of COVID for $56.05 on Comic Link. And again, don't know. Oh, look at that. Rickster's coming in saying that was a bargain. At the time, you think it was a bargain? At the time, I don't think it was a bargain, was it? I admit that's true, Marcus. We can definitely agree that so many of these pages started coming out in the past, year or two that, oh my God, like it's, wow, so many of them, are out there now. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, I love it. I love it. Beautiful art, like I said. And yeah, if you're a Doctor Strange fan, and these days there are quite a few Doctor Strange fans over the last several years, ever since the movies and all that. People are moving into Asgardian Arthur Adams now. Is that right? A bargain now. Yeah. Obviously. Oh, look at that. James loves it, but James is saying that he feels like this would only be a 5 to 6K page now. So that's really interesting. Okay, I love that, James. Thank you for your insights. All right. And indeed, Rick, indeed. James got the best one recently. James always gets the great stuff, though, Nikki! Jumping in to say hi and see how everyone is doing. I think a lot of us are having a good time. We're doing well, Nick. Thanks for dropping in and for rallying the likes as always. Thanks for hitting the thumbs up yourself as well. Appreciate it. And yes. They're honestly, of course, that's the beauty, right? That's the best one. But there's 2 or 3 really great ones, But indeed, Tom, indeed. Being what's on it, right. But yeah, let's check it out. So let's see what happens to this, because James feels this is about the price it should be worth now. A little bit of a golden shine, I think. Yeah, I see what you mean, Nick. I see what you mean. So yeah, let's check out what happened. So yes, August 21, 5605, and then what did this gentleman do? Of course, he resold it. And what happened? Well, he held on for 3 years, 8 months, and check out what happened. Okay, so let's take a really close look at this, everybody, because we saw something like this at the beginning of the show, right? Or is this no, we saw one where it was like a $75 profit, right? So this is the first time, very, very interesting, right? This is the first time where we see an example where due to the heritage fees, right? The unknown factor of not knowing whether the reseller got, the seller fee completely waived, or whether he got the average 10% seller fee tacked on, right? That 10% fee made the difference between this either becoming a small loss or a very small win, right? So that's very, very interesting. Another little bit of interest that we can say is that check out the time he held it. Sure, not 5 years, but compared to most people who resell at auction, that's, it's longer than most. So it's over 3.5 years. And in spite of holding for 3.5 years or slightly over 3.5 years, this is basically a wash, right? It's basically a wash. So I would like to take the opportunity to say, nice catch, James, because essentially that means that, yeah, the market showed us that the price, well, here, let's see. Well, okay, it's not really showing that James is right, because of course James is just talking that he felt that's that initial purchase price was the purchase price of today. Clearly, we see that the purchase price that was purchased, here 2 months ago, April of 2025, was $7,200, right? The new buyer paid $72, so clearly it's worth about 45-50% more to a buyer today, But to somebody who is the original buyer reselling it, to hold on that long, for that amount of time, and to essentially either lose 3.5% or maybe have gained at most 7%. Yeah, it's so negligible that, yeah, it's a wash, right? We can say that that's definitely a wash. So He should have followed Ruben's golden 5-year rule. I think it might have helped. It might have been just enough. Not because it's my rule, because the data shows us that that tends to be the rule. Still going to be the same if he waited. You think? We'll never know. We'll never know. Let's see. I hope it would do a bit better, but never know. No, that's true. Exactly. Yes, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate rallying the likes. Yeah, if you don't mind, people who are watching, there's 47 at the moment. So we got a good 4 dozen of you here. If you can hit that thumbs up icon, you see where I'm pointing somewhere there below. It would be awesome if I could get at least as many thumbs up as I have current live viewers. That would be fun. So 2 more of you haven't done so. I would appreciate if you could do that. That'd be nice. Thank you. And thank you to those of you who have already done that. Ruben the Data Collector. Indeed. It makes for a fun series though, right? Yeah, so interesting. Again, it's a really nice page. But I think the biggest takeaway, everybody, about this is, once again, it emphasizes the point that I've been trying to make with this whole series, in that the data shows us, that you should try your best to hold for at least 5 years. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. At least 5 years before you sell your art. This is another example of that. Why? Not only because he basically broke even, but I mean, he did make money. I mean, sorry, the art itself sold for more money, right? 3.5 years passed, and it started at 50, whatever was it, 5,600 or something like that, right? And ultimately, sold for an extra 1,000 and change, right? 12 to 1,400, something like that. But the data does show that at 5+ years, I mean, if you hold it for 6-7 years, it's likely, I believe he does at that point. It probably sells for $8,000, 8,500, I think. And whatever, he probably pockets, instead of breaking even after 3.5 years, maybe he gets to pocket 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that's that. All right. So I was saying that it's a kind of a double whammy, a 2-pronged approach, in that with the theme of this series, we can say that, and hold on, let me just see quickly, 7,200. Okay. We can, I think we know by now, those of you who have watched enough of these episodes, that buying art and then reselling it in less than 5 years at auction can be quite the long shot. Pun intended, of course. Let's see what happens on this purchase, shall we? So, 3 months after the previous page had initially been purchased, okay? So the previous one was purchased in August of 21. So this one was 3 months later in November of 21. And this one was purchased for more than the Dr. Strange focus page, although this one has 3 panels of Longshot. And this one sold for what, $1,400 more than the previous one? Okay, what I want to hear from you guys is your opinions. All right, thank you, Nikki. You got to know when to hold them, yes. And okay, so this is what the opinion I want to. That's okay. So thank you, Rick. This is what I want to know. What is your preference? What is your preference? Because I prefer the Dr. Strange one, right? Thank you, everybody, for hitting the likes. Appreciate it. And that was the going rate. Okay, so let me say that for me personally, to my eye, and as Nick agrees as well with us, I feel like my eyes on this particular page immediately go down to the bottom tier of panels, the Longshot panels, immediately. Okay, so I feel also that the vast majority, and literally like 90 to 95% of the value of this page is stuck only on the bottom tier of panels. Okay, and I feel, I'm not a fan of this page, although I like the bottom tier. Overall, I'm not a fan of the page because I'm not a fan of the congested panel layouts for the rest of the 2/3 of the page. The fact that there's so many panels and that they're all oddly shaped, to me, it has a lot less eye appeal when you do that. And for that reason alone, yeah, my eye, I think, is just drawn immediately to the bottom tier. But, you know, whatever. People have their preferences, and I guess that's why more than one person bid it up higher than the Doctor Strange page. Of course, some people are just happier getting 3 panels of Longshot than no panels of Longshot, right? And maybe they don't care about Doctor Strange. So you just don't know about people's interests and motivations. You know, CJ agrees with us as well. But again, it's all about, yeah, and so most of us like the Strange page better. That's for sure. You can find Longshot in other pages. Right. That's why. For me, I would have passed. If I'm looking for a Longshot example, I'd pass on this and just wait for a better one, given how many have come out. Rob Liefeld bought this page. Okay, well, congrats, Rob. I hope you hang on to that for a long time and enjoy it, of course. There's another vote from Peter for a fan of the Doctor Strange page. Strange a little more rare in this series, right on. Longshot more desirable. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's his series, you know. But yeah, James, exactly. It's like, it's okay because it's only primarily, to most of us, we feel like, yeah, if you like Longshot, it's 1/3 of a page. You know what I mean? So look at him buttering you up. And the odd panel at the top are the only thing oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what Rob liked. I don't know. To each their own, as we always say. That's fine. But yeah, the point is, you know, it'd be interesting if Rob ever sells this, right? Because this still goes back to November. Let me see here. Yeah, so he purchased in November 21. First of all, so because here's the thing, James, I don't know if you mean he bought it if he was this buyer here at 6,600 in November of 2021, or if you mean he recently bought it when we saw that buyer sell it and do this. Because that person held on for 3 years, 5 months. That's 3.5 years later, which is fairly long compared to most examples. And this sold for $10,800. And of course, because of the onerous selling fees, you know, at best, $2,400 profit for 36%. No, not too much, but yeah, you can't knock a profit. That's still nice money after enjoying a nice page, you know, that you liked for 3.5 years. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. So I'm not sure. Yep. As in what? As in he was the recent purchaser at 10,800. Pocket. Well, yeah, it's pocket change, but you know that's not the point. Not a great example of Arthur Adams page and layout or content. Exactly, TJ. Exactly. Oh, he posted it recently here, so that's why we're assuming he's the new buyer, I guess, right? Yeah, definitely a nice lift for sure. Nice She-Hulk page. Yeah, exactly. Me too, Tom. The more I look at the page, the more I don't like it. Yes, Rob, been buying a lot of pages recently. Okay, well, good luck. Chaotic. Exactly. That's perfectly said. Rick, perfectly said. It's you know, a lot of panels squeezed into a page when they're symmetrically shaped and symmetrically laid out, that still has eye appeal. George Perez as a great example, you know, throughout his career. But when it's tons of panels that are all oddly, weirdly shaped, like these are, you know, they're all uniquely shaped, it's mostly less eye appealing to most people. And like you say, it makes it feel very squeezed in and chaotic. Too much going on to look at. Your eyes have trouble focusing. But hey, like I said, some people are always going to like it. Yeah, hold on to that one for a long time, Rob, because at that price, yeah, certainly I can't see that being able to get a break even for a long time at 10,800. Rob tends to hold on to everything he buys, though, anyway, so it should be all right. Okay, so we are going to hit the... So we've hit the 2-hour mark, and yeah, it looks like we probably will do it within 3 hours. It's going to be a quick show tonight. I think that it was pure Art Adams. It was a pure Art Adams fan purchase, definitely not content oriented. Well, who knows what Rob's interest was, you know? CJ thinks it's a panel clusterfuck, you know? Art Adams market on fire. Yeah, you know. Next week's episode, I'll have more Art Adams. Yeah, so tune into that. And yeah, let us move on to the next example, shall we? Let's see here. I believe we are on the 10th, or is it the 11th one? Yeah, the 10th one. All right, let's check this one out. A recent sale, recently transacted, but obviously we got to look at the initial transaction, the first buy, sell and buy. And that was this one. And let me know right away, as soon as you see it, let me know what you guys feel. Pros and cons about this, okay? Because I'm going to start telling you my feelings right away. All right. So when I first saw this, and, you know, this sold like about a year ago, right? 14 months ago at Heritage for $2,400. Now, my initial reaction to this piece was that, oh, beautiful. I love it. Okay. So here are my pros, right? It has the classic triangle-oriented layout, all right? You got your composition, which is, you know, the standard triangle, okay? The top point of the triangle, obviously, you know, at the top of the surfer's head. But here, and, you know, and you got two other characters, Defenders characters, which make it kind of cool, and the wispy smoke in the background. I really like the Surfer's figure, by the way. But here's, you know, overall, it looks pretty, right? I like it. But my issue with this is that not only do I have 3 issues with this, okay, but the 3 issues all happen to be exactly at the 3 points of the triangle. That's my problem with this. Okay, that's my problem with this. No Namor, should be less. Defender's magic. Yeah, so there we go. Alien Surfer with Manning forehead. Pass, especially at that price. And it's not actually a bad price, to be honest, for a huge Silver Surfer shot. But yeah, Tony. So you're starting with the perfect thing. So, okay, this is my problem. Like, on the surface, I do like it a lot, right? I like the layout. I like the triangle layout, right? But the alien head is a real put-off, right? He looks like the leader. Okay, it's a real put-off for me. Even though the rest of the figure I really like, that head turns me off, right? So that's the first thing. So let's, in a clockwise fashion, everybody, let's follow the lines from point to point. And you will see what I'm talking about when I say that each of the 3 items I hate about this piece are situated at those 3 points. So we move down to the right bottom corner of the triangle. And my issue is that while I like Dr. Strange being there and balancing out the composition with the triangle, I hate that his eye is bugging out. You know? I actually am not sure about what year it is, James. Sorry. But early 90s, I assume, because it's, you know, Namor. It's that late 80s Namor series. Yeah, Silver Surfer is popular for sure. You missed it and you would pay $24 now for this, yeah? See, I wouldn't buy it because of these things that I'm pointing out. Yeah, it's this in reverse for me. To Egghead, exactly, JC, right? But don't you get turned off by the giant, like, googly eyes, the googly eye that Doctor Strange has, right? And then when you move across horizontally to the left bottom point of the triangle, it leads me to, yeah, I love the Hulk, but I just don't think his face is well drawn. Like, it's just not, and by the way, not only is he not well drawn, and yes, thank you, Peter, it looks like the way it was drawn, it's like he's got no lips, so all you see are his teeth with no lips. But why is he looking away? He's literally looking in the opposite direction that the Silver Surfer is. You know, he's looking to his right instead of to his left. Like, it's so bizarre. It's just, yeah. So it's got those three things kind of turn me off, and that's why I wouldn't buy this. You know, Strange looks pasted on, and the teeth are hideous. Yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. And we got 50 viewers right now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Nice trade bait. Yeah, I came late. By the way, Nikki, I came late to your show 2 days ago, and I rushed home. I rushed home thinking, hey, it's only been I'll be able to make it. It's only like an hour and 15 minutes in. It's gonna be something like that, and only to find out you made it a quick episode like you used to make them always. I left you a comment though. I watched it and left you a comment. Seasick Hulk. I would have googly eyes if I saw a reflected naked man with a surfboard. Yeah, that is a good point. Maybe WTF eyes. True. Didn't even know it was the Hulk. Well, that makes it even worse. Oh my God, another one, back to back. Didn't even know that was the Hulk. Hulk looks too small and normal. Yeah, that's the thing too. Back in the early 90s, I actually hated how Dale Keown started drawing him with a more human face. Instead of the flat, wide nose, which made it look more monstrous, he gave it a regular human nose, you know? So I started hating it, his face at that time. This leading to a dangerous new theme for a show. Things I hate about a page. I promise, JC, we will not do that. Hulk has a beard. No, that's just the side of his face and his chin in shadow. Lose Hulk and Strange and about half of the Surfer's forehead, and it might be oh, come on. No way. It would be worth a lot more than 2,400. And you're welcome. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, man. For sure. Surfer's ankles would break on contact. A bit thin for sure. Looks like Hercules with a beard. A page I hate. Funky Splash. All right, let's see what happened, folks. Let's see what happened here. I have bought uglier art due to nostalgia. Well, me too, James. And that's exactly the thing. That you know, that's why I think it's as long as we do it in an honest way, you know, I've always believed there's nothing wrong with critiquing artwork. You can't always talk about the good points and say how everything's great and nothing's bad. That's why you'll always hear me tell you the truth on my show. I'll always point out everything that I think is, you know, are the faults, even if they are well sought after artists, hot artists. I don't care. You know, all comic artists, even the best ones, put out some less than good work, you know. But yeah, let's see what happens. So he picked it up at 2,400 last April, and then sold it a year later for 3,120. It sold for. So check it out. 1 year later, it only sold for 700 more, right? 700 more. The problem is it was sent to Heritage, which obviously is going to take the top 20% away and perhaps as much as an extra 10 or 15% off, right? And so here we have another example, I believe the second example this evening, of one of those pieces that even though it went up about 25% in terms of sale over sale, right? Year over year, the sale price compared to the sale price went up 25% or so. Once you factor in the onerous fees that you have to pay as a seller, once again, this guy either lost 60 bucks or maybe made 200 as a profit for either a 2.5% loss or 8% profit. And so once again, yeah, what does that show you, right? It's a risk holding it for such a short period of time and sending it in to the auction house that has the highest fees. If you think about it, it's after only a year, and given that it was sent to Heritage, it's actually, he got, to me, that was a lucky, like he should be thanking his lucky stars that he basically broke even and that it was basically a wash, because that's so easily, it was this close from being a loss, you know? So another example from tonight, the second one tonight, where although tonight we're showing the winners, it may have been a negligible loss. So in realistic terms, I think that it's the second piece where we could easily have fit it as an example for one of my other episodes where we're showing the losing trades, you know. So I'll see what you guys have to say here. And by the way, again, about uglier art due to nostalgia, James, so have I. And that's exactly why, you know, as long as you're not being an asshole about it, right? Critique it, right, properly. It's okay to say it, especially, and I've said it many times before, I bought plenty of art. A lot of the art I own isn't super top-notch level, but whatever, you know? And then sometimes I've even bought, like you said, you know, bad art, you know, like not very good art, just because, for, you know, for any number of other reasons, you know, typically nostalgia or whatever, you know? And Rick too, guilty of that, right? And Peter. Yeah, Peter, not to single you out, but just to show you, you know, I'm being fair to everybody and I'm always honest about everything. I didn't want to put it in writing. I figured there's no point to it because there was something, you know, a more interesting thought came to mind today about your piece you posted today. And so that's what I posted for you in my comment. But I also thought, and I think you'd probably agree, oddly enough, that the Glanzman's art in this particular page today was really rough, in the sense that it almost looks like he inked his own layouts rather than tightening up the pencils and inking those. It looks like he either went straight to ink or just inked layouts and didn't tighten them up. Very interesting, because yeah, Glanzman's style has always reminded me a lot of John Severin's inking, you know, and this page doesn't have that. I thought it was really interesting. I'd be interested to see other pages from the issue to see if they're all similar. If so, then I would imagine it was probably an issue with deadlines, and so probably had to do it quickly, you know. But yeah, interesting to see. After the movie comes out, we'll be back at 2,400. We'll see. I bet the seller was still happy to get his money back. I would think so. And I would think, James, again, just a guess, but I would think that one of the reasons he sold could have been simply that he also realized all of a sudden, he kind of looks like an egghead, you know, like the Silver Surfer's head. Like, what's up with that, you know? Hulk on the can? I don't know what's happening there. All we can see are the heads, right? So look at some of my art and think, boy, why didn't I notice those hands are poorly drawn or that figure work is wonky? Nostalgia or genre. Well, yeah, well, that's it. Exactly. But that's what happens to a lot of collectors. You know, you're just kind of buying because you remember it. nostalgia, or whatever genre focus, right? And then only later, as you're trying to admire it and enjoy it some more while you already have it, the longer you look at it, that's when often collectors start to notice more about it, good and bad. Couldn't believe it sold for that much on Heritage, right? Exactly, Mickey. Which auction? That's an open-ended question, Sean, because it depends what you mean. There's good and bad for different reasons. Good and bad for different reasons. Like, I'm on record, I'll say it really quick because I don't want to get off track too much, but I'm on record many times as saying, if you're going to sell something at auction, right? So that's already planned in your head. I'm on record many times as saying, I would recommend you go with Heritage. If it's quality, again, it depends. If it's quality, well, what's quality? And we can get into the weeds on that, right? So that's why it's impossible to really talk about, because there's so many variables. But if it's something that you think is good quality, or if it has, let's say even if you don't think it's the greatest quality in terms of like high value name, title, characters, artists, whatever, but let's say it still has a lot of value. Let's say it's an expensive piece. I would still probably go with Heritage. I prefer Heritage because they have many more eyeballs than anyone else. But that's only if you're selling for the first time, not if you're reselling in less than 5 years of owning it. That's different. If you're reselling, I don't even want to give you my thoughts as to which auction house would be the best for a resale less than 5 years in. I can tell you, a lot of people have kind of laughed because we've seen some examples in previous episodes that made it appear as if reselling on Comic Link was not the brightest idea. But lately, I've been looking through all these examples that I have that I'm putting together for this show and coming shows. And I've noticed that it sold initially at Comic Link for a lot more than it later sold for at Heritage. So there are a lot of times where Comic Link still gets the best money on some sales. So yeah, tough question to ask. It's not a simple question, man. It's not even the movie surfer. Thank God. Hey, what's up? Philip in the house again. I've tried to at least buy a nice example when I do a nostalgia purchase, but art qualities in the ID beholder. That's very true. Very well said. As AI Snow would say. AI Snow? Not to spend too much time on an earlier splash in the issue. Okay. That could be it then. I'll take your word for it. Maybe. Okay. All right. So let us move on to the next example, everyone. And for that, we are going to stick with Marvel, go into the Marvel, sometime around probably 1979, 80. Take a look at this. So a half-page splash, right? A half splash of the Savage She-Hulk. These pages have been getting popular, more and more popular over the last couple of years. And the art is by Mike Vozburg and Chic Stone. So this is an example where the art, name value, quality value, it's, average, never been big time or anything, just average at best kind of thing. Character is probably, definitely the thing that gives the most value to these pages. A lot of She-Hulk fans out there. And it's only a 3-panel page. And yes, although she's only in one panel, for me, the way I look at this, guys, is if you're only 1 out of 3 panels is going to have the main character, at least let it be the largest panel, which is twice as big as the other 2 panels, and let it be a really cool pinup shot of the character in action, which this does have. And it's also extra cool that it says the Savage She-Hulk right next to her, So yeah, so I think that's really, really cool. I think the fact that the only one panel that she's in is so cool and so large compared to the others. It makes up for the fact that she's not in at least one other. In other words, I see this as the equivalent of having a 3-panel page where the 3 panels are let's say a She-Hulk in 2 out of the 3 panels. It's kind of the equivalent to that, you know. That's how I see it. So, having said that, I will tell you guys when this sold. Yeah, I haven't been looking closely and remembering or even taking down note of the prices. I know they've been selling for thousands, but I don't know, you know, if this went for too much or too little. But you know, $4,600, given that these things were cheap for decades, you know, definitely splashy, nice top half for sure. In 2 ways, more ways than one, as we say, Rick. The She-Hulk show was 2022. Okay, yeah, but this is already midway through 2023, so the hype is already gone. And at that point, everybody knows she's not coming back again for a second season. So I don't think that had anything to do with it. Yeah, I like it too, Tom. I like it too. Vozburg going up. Well, if it's going up, it's not because of his name. It's just whatever he's selling might be of interest to content. His name doesn't really carry any premium. Yeah, but Rubin's not twerking. Yeah, still got good money for not twerking. Looks like Roy Thomas in the upper part of the second panel. That's true. Could be. It's spelled Vosberg. What did I do? Vosberg. Did I put a Z? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I put a Z. You know why? Because I usually refer to him as Voz. You know, I refer to him by his nickname. And when you see his nickname written, it's always VOZ. And that's it. So I got VOZ stuck in my head. And so that's why I ended up, yeah, writing the Z instead of the S. Whatever. Thank you for pointing it out. Mike Vosburg, I apologize. Sorry. Making that mistake. And I guess you're going to see the mistake again. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, everybody. After paying 2 years ago exactly, $4,600. The buyer at that time resold it 1.5 years later, earlier this year, 1.5 years later, for $7,800. Look at that. What's that? 46, 78. That's $3,200 more. I think, honestly, that's a really great upswing. Okay. But I think it bears mentioning. I think it bears mentioning that given how much her artwork has been going up, and given how high some even earlier key appearances, have sold for in recent times, that's not surprising to me. That's not surprising at all. That result, So I feel like, again, it kind of bears mentioning that it's a good example of saying, sure, this guy made money, right? It went for $3,200 more, although, of course, with all the fees, instead of $3,200, right? He's pocketing either $1,250 or $1,900. Okay, still, that's a nice profit. It's still good money in a year and a half, right? But it bears mentioning that it's another example of why, if you're gonna sell in less than 5 years, try to make a sale publicly, a direct sale, without before you go to auction, because I believe, given what other pieces have sold for, that $7,500 to $8,500 was going to be the value of that page today. And I believe if the guys that go after those pages are CAF members, there's a good chance that if you posted on CAF for sale at that price, you probably could have made a sale, and you would get all the money instead of giving such a huge portion of it away to the auction house. You know what I mean? So good on you, reseller. Good on you. You got lucky. But you could have gotten a lot more if you'd just not gone to auction, I believe. So, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It is what it is. All I can do is show and present the data, right? You actually mean that the 2022 show would have, that it would have hurt the price. Oh, I see. I got you. Thank you. Yeah, still a solid game. Absolutely, James. Hey, what's good? Ryan, I think with it being her second appearance, that definitely helps. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, another appearance, and I think it was from her second appearance, another page from the issue sold for way more than that. Yeah, so those are my thoughts anyways. Being from just the second issue, yeah, you're saying what Ryan is saying for sure. Grabbing dinner. Have a good one, Nikki. Thanks again for hanging out, and thanks for rallying the likes. I appreciate it. Have a great evening yourself. Yeah, so in any case, let us keep it rolling, shall we? And move on to the next example. Let's see here. All right, so another great artist I really like, and I didn't notice this page sell the first time. Really great. I love this page. I love the artist. I love the characters. So that's a great combination. Let me know what you guys think about this price on this initial sale. Okay, let me know as soon as you see it. All right, here we go. A very interesting half splash, right? I really love these types of half splashes. And yes, you can call this a half splash because the center panel does indeed take up, the same height and size as the putting the top tier and the bottom tier panels together. And it's just, it actually makes for a really nice composition, having it bookended with two other panels. And the fact that this is a half splash with both of the two featured characters of the Superman Batman title, and given that it's standing next to each other very heroically, with the buildings behind them and the backdrop, and the fact that you get cameo close-up appearances of the characters, including Robin in the extra panels. That's just a bonus, because we know that all the value for a piece like this is for that center panel, right? But it's just such a phenomenal center panel, and every other panel, it's cool. It's got cool, other good stuff in the extra panels that just adds a little bit more value to it. But let me know what you guys think about $37.25 for something like this. It was sold and purchased at Golden Auctions, if you guys notice, which is very, very interesting, because of course we rarely see that in the examples that I've shown on this series, right? CJ loving the great primary coloring. All right, Rickster, thank you very much. The only guy giving an opinion seems about right. And James saying that you can get lucky when random auction houses have comic art. That's true. That's true. But not always. Not always. So let's see what happens, since nobody really has an opinion other than Rick. See what happens. So this was just 14 months ago. So paid $37.25. And then sold, sorry, I should say resold 5 months later, sending it to Heritage Auctions. I believe this person had to have been thinking, oh, nobody saw it on Golden. It has to be worth more. I'm going to send it to Heritage and cash in, right? And so technically he's right, in the sense that if you look at the time held, right, 5 months later. So it sold only 5 months later, and it did go from one of the least known auction houses for artwork to the single best known auction house for artwork, right? And only 5 months later, usually that's still going to be a cause for a loss. And this is the interesting thing. In this case, it's sold for, you know, a nice percentage more, going from 37 and a quarter to, yeah, it's, what is that? Like roughly a 40% increase sale to sale, right? But because he risked it at Heritage, that's the killer, guys. That's the killer, right? It's like, yeah, you may have gotten a good deal on it when you bought it at Golden, but the killer is the decision to go and sell it at Heritage. Because I think Sale, this is one of those examples where I think Tim Sale is popular enough, and this page is great quality enough. I think I would rather have risked it at Comic Link, one of the big Comic Link auctions, right? The featured auction, because I do believe they could still get at least 5,500 for it. And I would only lose 10% off of the 5,520, right? As opposed to losing the top 20% and then another potential 10%. So you're looking at it that way, guys. You know, it went up 40% in 5 months, but ultimately he only netted either 11 or 23%, you know? So in more ways than one, Rick? Probably hoping for at least a K. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would think he's hoping for more profit, but that's the thing. If you're going to sell that quickly at Heritage, it's tough. It's tough to make a profit regardless, as we know. Very, very difficult to make a profit of any kind. So yeah, you look at that and it's like, wow, that's not too exciting, you know, to risk $3,700 over $3,700, right? You thought it was fair at 35, all right. 5 months equals 2 months to receive it, plus 3 months for Heritage to get it to auction. About the quickest flip you can expect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, honestly, guys, I mean, good for him, good for you, whoever you are, reseller. But here's a thing I want you guys to focus on. You know, we talk a lot about all the things about, you know, what auction house should you resell at if you're gonna sell within 5 years. Something to take a notice of, okay? When you resell at Heritage, it's really an important point to keep in mind, because it doesn't sound so bad on the surface of it all, right? You think, well, you know, Heritage doesn't give me a no seller fee deal, but okay, 10% is reasonable, you know? And on the surface of it, it could sound like it's reasonable, right? But wow, that 10%, we're going to see here, right, again, with this example and some upcoming examples, focus on that 10%. Look at the difference between what the reseller will net, whether, you know, if, you know, the difference he would net, depending on if he has to or doesn't have to pay that extra 10% fee. All right, check it out. So obviously, if you look on a net basis, it's more than double. So while on the surface it sounds like, well, it's not so bad, you know, 10% extra I have to pay. But if he had to pay the extra 10%, it made the difference between netting in his pocket $875 or less than half of that and getting only $415, right? So think about that. Yeah, it's only a reasonable 10%, but the difference in what you pocket, that 10% means you lost more than 50% of what you could have kept in your pocket, you know? So I guess I'm trying to teach you all, if you insist on going to Heritage and you don't already do so, don't be shy to insist. Try to, there's ways of speaking, right? There's ways of speaking to people. And I know everybody has different personalities. There's all types of personalities. A lot of people are scared to negotiate. They don't like to negotiate. But try your best to, if you're going to go with them, if you insist on going with Heritage, and you know your art is good, do your best to get the seller fee waived. You know, because it's a huge difference. Like I said, it sounds like it's good. Oh, only 10%. But that 10% extra meant your profit was reduced by over 50%. So something interesting to note, and you'll keep your eye on those numbers, right? The net numbers in the reseller's pocket on both a cash terms and in percentage terms, you know. But Golden will give me better terms for my Billy Ripken error cards. Will they? Fuckface. Nice. All right. So let us go on to the... okay. So, guys, this is where it starts to get really, really interesting because we're in the home stretch, guys. We're in the home stretch. And I'm going to say we don't make it to 3 hours, but we're going to make it definitely not 4 or 5. So we're in the last... Actually, we're in, I think, the last 3 or 4 pieces. Yeah. But these start to get more exciting here, guys. All right, check this out. The next example was purchased. I'm going to show you the color version first. Okay. The Jay Lee cover to Wizard 21 with Youngblood and from 1993. Okay. And let me show you the black and white. So Wizard covers over the last few years have gotten very, very popular. I agree. This was purchased at Comic Link at the end of the year, 2 years ago. Exactly, what, 2.5? No, 1.5 years ago. Yeah. And $9,400, right? So $9,400 didn't surprise me at the time because, like I said, it's a double cover, right? Wraparound type cover. Or fold-in cover, as this is technically. And yeah, so I figured, yeah, 90s, the whole image era thing, Jay Lee, everything was going to combine for this to sell for good money. So that's not shocking, right? And oh, welcome back, Ian. Exciting means more talking. Yeah, but you guys aren't doing much talking, if you noticed. That's a $1 billion cover. That was you thought that was a great price? Well, apparently, so did the reseller. Oh, what is happening? Jason Kim in the house. What's good? Wow, wait a second. Are we, oh my God, after 5 episodes, almost 6 complete episodes, do we now have a verified second reseller coming forward to tell us that was them? All right. Jason, were you the buyer or the seller at $9,400? Let me know quick before I move on to show everybody what happened afterwards. Oh my gosh. So 94, it's interesting that Tom is saying he thought that was a good price. I thought at the time, I thought it was fair, but you may be right, Tom. Maybe it was somewhat undervalued. I'm not sure. Oh, nice. Yeah. Woo! Oh, I love it even more now, baby. Love it even more. Yes. Oh, shit. Yes, sir. Okay, so glad. Okay, well, first of all, Jason, let me give you big thanks because you are the second, only the second, and both of you happened tonight, right? My previous 5 episodes, nobody stepped forward. Tonight, 2 of you have stepped forward to say that you were the buyers or the sellers, you know. And I'm so happy that, you know, a couple of friends, not only is it a couple of friends that stepped forward, but the fact that it ended up good for you, that you weren't on the bad side of the trade, you know. So that's really, really amazing. Let me show everybody why I got so excited for you. All right. Okay, so you thought it was a phenomenal price when you got it. Okay. I guess I'm wrong. That's fine. I could be wrong. I admit when I'm wrong. The winners always come forward. That's true. We'll see if the losers want to come forward eventually, right? Yes. Well, let's see. Congratulate him some more once I show you what happened. What happened to Jason? All right. A quick reminder. So Jason Kim from Comic Art Channel, good guy, stepping away from the hobby this past year. So you are missed, my friend. Happy to see you pop in, though. And yeah, so Jason buys this a year and a half ago for $9,400. And look at what he did. He held on for only 16 months. 1 year, 4 months later, boom! $38,400. Holy frijoles. Oh, baby. Woo! Oh my gosh, man. Wow. I mean, come on. Holy crap. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Guys, look at that. Guys. Okay. Jason, I got to ask you. You don't have to answer. So, if you feel pressure and you'd rather not tell us publicly, just tell us you'd rather not say. But I'd like to still ask you if you had a no seller fee deal or if you had to pay a fee on the seller side. If you're willing to reveal that, that'd be cool. But don't feel pressure. No problem. If you don't, just tell me you don't want to reveal it. Okay. Let me put this back up for you, everybody. This one deserves to be seen for a little bit longer. Yes, the proof is indeed in the resale price. In this case, big baller, baby, big baller. Holy shit. Yeah, that's a small boom, Rick. It's a UMBA, Marcus Watumba. Major congrats. Absolutely. Oh, nice. Even better than zero seller. Yeah. Woo! Awesome. Oh my God, that's awesome, man. That is absolutely better than Ezra. Holy shit. That is awesome. Holy crap, Jason. Hats off, baby. Hats off. So happy to see you do well, man. Oh my gosh. Listen, guys, when you're selling art at auction, not all of, that's an outlier. Like, not everything you sell is going to be, if those are the kind of results we all experience when selling at auction, we'd all be selling our collections and killing the market. I'm sure, Jason, you've probably taken some losses on stuff, made on others, right? It all balances out, whatever. But, every now and then you get a big win like that, which makes up for the losers, right? And then some. So, yeah. So that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you, man. So happy that I found out it was yours. So cool. Oh man, that's so amazing. Home fucking run indeed. Got a good price, but sad I've been selling a lot of art. I know, of course. I know, how it goes. It is what it is. But that's the thing, right? You're already sad that you're selling it, and that already gives you enough reason, the parting of it with it, right? It gives you enough reason to be sad about it. So because you're dealing with that sadness, that's why, even more reason why you feel like, oh, come on, I got to get a good win here somewhere, Let me get like at least one or two big ones, So yeah, it kind of helps to take some of the sadness away, Yeah, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for dropping in and for telling us it was you, man. Yeah, and I hope you've been doing good. I hope things have been going good regardless of the sales. I hope overall you've been doing good with your sales, and yeah, I hope your life in general has been enjoyable, even though you've been parting with a lot of your collection. But okay, we got to keep it rolling, guys. Let's keep it rolling and move on to the next example. But shit, that deserves one more, everybody. One more quickie through the 3 versions of the slides. You got the color, initial purchase, 9,400, and ultimate sale, 38,400. Look at that. Jason netted in his pocket over $22,600. So that's another first. And yes, I've mentioned that before, but I don't want to always mention it because the vast majority of people don't do better than no seller fee deals, right? Majority of people don't get that. So it's not really worth mentioning. But yeah, first time that somebody has mentioned that we know for a fact somebody did even better than the posted high amount. So amazing, amazing, amazing. So happy. And that's what you always say to your wife. Fire for sure, Tony. Fire for sure. Dr. Rubin on The View. Why not? All they ever do is get all those fake TV doctors anyways. One fake doctor is as good as any. I qualify. Money helps with the sadness for sure. Yeah. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Peeperoonies. And look at that applause from David. Well-deserved for sure. All right, the next example. Yeah, these last three, I believe. Yeah, really interesting. I believe we're hitting the James portion of the show. I don't know if he's gone off to put his son to bed or not, or if he's here. But here's where we begin the X-Men portion of our show. And the reason I'm really hoping that you're here, James, is because this is where I you know, somebody who is as well versed in the market as you are, particularly in X-Men art, your views come into play, you know, your opinions on values and stuff come into play really, really well for us here. So let's all get Jason to negotiate for us. Yeah, exactly. At Heritage, he means. At Heritage. Oh, sorry. So is this the clap? I don't get it. Wait, yeah, this is the clap. So if this is the clap, what the hell is this? Is that shake weight? It looks kind of like a weight in the hands. I don't know. I don't know what the hell. Somebody tell me that's shake weight. What in the world? Jason can start an art advisory service. Right on. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like James has taken off, probably to put the kiddo to bed. Unfortunately, just when we needed him, there he is. He's here. Okay, you're here. Were you putting your son to bed? Because I don't think you heard me. You must have been away. James, I was saying that we're at the point of the show where we're finishing it off with 3 examples, and it's the X-Men portion of the show. This is why it's perfect. I want you to be here to give us all your views and opinions on the values, you know, at that time, later, on the resale and all that stuff, you know. And see, I really want to get your feedback here. Yeah, no, but it's not waving or buy, because like I said, this is clapping. Yeah, because I think the red things are the, you know, trying to show you the sound effect, right? And this looks like the hand has something that looks like a weight. It looks like one of those 2-pound weights that yoga women use, for, you know, for light arm exercises. So I'm thinking shake weight, but I don't know. Can you demonstrate what the shake weight for? I cannot, Marcus. Did I tell you guys the last time I demonstrated the shake weight thing on my show? YouTube screwed me. And when you go to that episode, like when you go to my homepage and you look at all my videos, when you find that video and you just point the pointer, you just hover the pointer over the thumbnail, you know how there's the video moves. It moves like in you know, like a 2 or 3 second, you know, in rotation, right? It has me doing the shake weight thing. Yeah, so never again. At least not on camera. Let's see. What's a shake weight? Come on. Google it, CJ. Google it. Is the shake weight like a root beer float? It's very different. Made a mistake. Thought it was clapping. Ah, you see? Oh, okay. We're all learning from each other, David. It's okay. South Park style shake weight. We comparing hand sizes now? Sean, you're still there. You could have made a short. YouTube loves YouTube loves shorts. Shake it, don't break it. All right, let's get into the X-Men portion. Even though James only talked about the waving emoji and didn't tell us if he's going to be here to talk or not. All right. So the next piece, everyone. Let me cue that up. All right, here it is. Check this out. So this is X-Men number 246, page 15. And this was sold and purchased December 2022 for $6,700. Okay, it's a Marc Silvestri and Dan Green from that era. You know, I was still reading and collecting in this era, so I'm very familiar with it, you know. And climbed the rope, slowed down the rope. Oh, that went crazy. Dazzy. Okay, so here's what I want to say, James, who is kind of, I think James has been in and out. So let me tell you how I felt about this when this sold, okay? So James, you can let me know what you thought about this in December of 2022. Because in December 2022, I felt like this was already tops. I felt like, okay, that's more than enough. Because to me, this is Dazzler and Havok, right? This is like sort of second and third tier X-Men characters. And you got Colossus, who to me is first tier, but you know, he's kind of hidden in the second panel and he's kind of small in the third panel. It's mostly a Dazzler Havok page. So yeah, to me, 6,700 was more than enough. But here's what this is what I feel like. Okay, so I appreciate you saying right on. Okay, it was a bit harder to find back then. Not that it was that long ago. Lord Havok, indeed. Then more came to the market, right? So I just feel, though, I just feel like this is more than enough, even today. So let me know what you feel about it now, James. Because even today, like, honestly, I feel like, okay, it's been a couple of years. I'm willing, you know, it's been 2.5 years, right? So I'm willing to say that today, okay, I would not be shocked to see 7,500 or 8,000, right? Well, interestingly enough, the ladies don't always sell. And I will have an example, I believe it's next week, unless it's tonight, that will show you an ex-lady, which didn't work out. But new outfit, I don't know if people give a crap about that, Sean. Be happy selling my stuff on street pages for the 2022. Yeah, interesting, you know. I know that she has a cult following. Who wrote that? Where did I see that? Bootlegging. Yeah, that's true. But like I said, this is more than enough. To me, even today, 6,700, like I said, no more than $8,000 today. Okay? That's what I feel. But I don't know. What do you think today, James? What do you think is fair for this today? Give me a range of what you think is fair today. Okay? Do that for me, please. Because I'm going to queue up the other one. Yeah. I'm thinking back then that was okay. That's fine. 6,500. I was thinking 65, $7,000 maybe, you know. But because it's second and third tier type X-Men members, I think that also affects the time frame we talk about, you know, when you're looking at gaining value. Those second and third tier quality characters, not only do they bring less value, but the rate at which they grow in value is also, or should also be, slower, you know, than your Wolverines, you know. So that's why I think that, okay, 6,700 back in, you know, 2.5 years ago, I'm still thinking $8,000 tops today. It shouldn't shoot up too much. I recall reading that issue. Okay. And certainly not. So you're okay. So you think a little more than me, right? But we're in the same kind of range. I'm thinking 75 to 8. You think 8 to 9. Okay. And it was a popular issue. Okay. Wasn't she rumored to be an oncoming movie? I don't think that had anything to do with it. Whatever. It's just two people going nuts, I guess. But okay, let's take a look, shall we? Let's take a look and show everybody exactly what happened. Quick reminder. December 22, Comic Link purchased 6,700, then resold another 2.5 years later for $14,250. And everybody, let me take this off real quick. Another example. Here's another example. The second time tonight for Sean Rubinstein. He asked, which is the best auction house? Obviously, that's an open-ended question, but when it comes to reselling in less than 5 years at auction, I would avoid reselling in less than 5 years at Heritage because of how onerous, for most people, the selling fees are, But this is I told you guys earlier in the evening that tonight we were going to see some examples where Comic Link, for the good stuff, for good titles, characters and artists, they can get, and they do often get, good money. This is an example of that, right? Check it out. I mean, come on. $14,200, So, yeah, he loses, 10% off of that. And pockets 61.25, for a 91% profit. That's pretty sweet. That's nothing wrong with that at all. That's whack, says CJ. Dazzler was rumored to be in Deadpool. Taylor Swift was going to play her. Dazzler shit spiked then. Okay, whatever. I see Heritage as being the place where art can go crazy. But apparently Comic Link drove this crazy. This is way after. No Swift in the movie, though. Hey, Shaggy. What's up, Shaggy? You didn't reply to my last email. Copy and paste that comment, baby. Help me out. Help a brother out. Love X-Men, but never would have thought 14 grand. Wow, new collector coming in overpay. Who knows? That's the thing. We never know. But let this be another lesson, everybody, about, when we talk about buying art at auction, forget reselling, talk about buying art, man, try to work harder on we all need to work harder on trying to know ahead of time, how badly do we really want to own this? Do we need to own this? And if we do, have some sort of limit set. You should always be doing that. And I have a feeling these people probably did have a limit set in their minds, but just got caught up in, you motherfucker, you outbid my limit. Man, fuck him. I'm going to show him who's boss. One more bid. And suddenly, I'm the winner. Yeah, okay, I'm winning, and I'm going to take this. Oh, shit. He bid again? How much do you want to pay for this? Now I'm losing again. Fuck that. Fuck him. I'm taking it. Bid again. Yeah, I'm winning again. Right? And it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And suddenly you paid $14,250 for a page that's worth no more than 9, says James. And I think no more than 8. So we all got to be careful about not getting carried away. Because another lesson to learn from these episodes, right, guys? I feel hugely terrible for whoever did win this. Because at this price, $14,250. Even here, let me do some quick math for you, all right? So if he had a no seller fee deal, right? He would have to resell this at Heritage, right? And it would have to not only again sell for $14,250, but it would have to go actually way further than that to $17,100 okay, on a resale, just for him to not lose any money, just get his money back, a wash. Sorry, whoever you are who owns this piece now, but I hope you can afford to hold this for 10 years or more. You may not even get your money back then if you sell it at Heritage. Yeah, this is going to be tough to get out from under without losing some money, good money. So that's all I can say. So lesson, hopefully somebody's going to learn a lesson with this one tonight, you know. Right. Highest Novolvi or Goblin Queen Silvestri panel that I know of. I'm not surprised, you know. Clink auction ends at a set time. Yeah, there's the rent I was expecting. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, I've been controlling myself tonight for the most part because, you know, but because people are winning, right? These are the wins. So no real reason to rant about something good that happened. You got to rant about something that somebody made poor decisions, you know, about. Clink is sniping right on. 2K per panel. Might be on calf soon. You never know. We'll see. No reason to feel terrible. They probably love Dazzler, the Outback era, and that's a great looking page. Probably bought it eyes wide open. It would be interesting to find out though, wouldn't it, James? Because we really don't know, right? Big price. What's up, Chris Lutz? Big price, but nice examples of this period are Silvestri art with this many characters on it are relatively scarce. But the quality of the characters matter, and it doesn't matter how scarce it is. With this quality of characters, that was way too much. Wolverine or not, nah. If someone was hot for a piece in the moment, I can see it. But that's the same as saying you can say that about any piece that goes to market. Literally any piece, right? If someone's hot for a piece in the moment, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think, well, look, most of us agree that this was way, way overbought. Got to do what you got to do to win. Hey, listen, and I've done that to win. I've said, fuck this guy. I'm going to win no matter at all costs. I've done that. Whatever. But, you know, you got to control yourself to some degree, you know. Yeah, see, there you go. I've overpaid on most of my prized pieces. You have to in order to buy it to make sure it's something you really want. Yeah, you got to know it's something you really want in order to overpay. It's the other way around, you know. Now I might have to sell my Silvestri pages for huge profits. Why not? Just got a piece in that is niche, but very special to me that I paid a good chunk for. But sometimes you pay for the opportunity if you love it. That's true. That's true. All right. Let us stick with the X-Men and jump to the next example, guys. Okay, this one, Sean, I might rant a little bit about this one. And that's cool because we have Chris here, Chris Lutz and James Siegel are probably going to stick up for this just because it's X-Men and they love it. That's cool. Everybody, look, on my channel, you can say what you want. You know that. Argue with me, you know, give the other side of the argument. That's cool. That's what we're all here for. And hey, let me know if you want to argue what I'm going to say and you'd rather do it, you know, on camera because it's easier that way, let me know. And I'd be happy to bring you in quickly just so we can hash it out. But yeah, this is ridiculous, okay? At any price, okay? All right, so check this one out. All right, so earlier this year, and not that much earlier this year, back in March, all right, only 3 months ago, this page from X-Men Annual 14, the Arthur Adams Dan Green Annual, sold on eBay for $1,225. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry, X-Men fans. But I don't give a fuck who drew this. I don't give a fuck what X-Men Annual this is from. When you're paying 4 digits for a hamburger French fry splash, okay, something's wrong. And now I admit, this price, it's okay to pay in this case because I know, you know, I know as well as you do that, yes, it's not right? Like, you know, 1,200, big deal, right? It's these days that's considered, you know, low end pricing, right? So, right, exactly. Rant spoiler, exactly. No, I don't mean X-Men Sim, Chris. I mean, like, you might be here to, you know, the way you stuck up for the buyer at 14,250 on that other page. I'm just saying you're sticking up for people who way overpaid. That's what I meant. That's all. And this was stupid indeed. Yum. And by the way, the hamburger patty and fries, the way they're rendered, they don't even look like meat. It doesn't even look like beef, honestly. It's not even a great looking hamburger and fries. The top panel, the establishing shot with the buildings, is beautiful. But you guys know as well as I do, that carries no value, right? So all you're paying for here is the ability to tell people, I own an Arthur Adams page from an X-Men annual. Okay? That's all. We all know that. You're paying for the penciler's name, right? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. No hot dogs. I'll pass on this, though. This page was a scam. I'm positive whatever you think about this piece is correct. No dogs. No float or shake. No root beer float, man. I love burgers. I love burgers, Tony. I love burgers. I just don't love $1,225 burgers, let alone even more expensive burgers. This is an amazing piece. I want it now. Flip that burger before it gets burned. See, you guys had to wait for the shittiest page of the evening before you finally started blabbing, shooting your mouths off. Unbelievable. Burger birth page. If you're hungry in the moment, anything can happen. Nice. Maybe someone in the fast food industry bought it. Maybe Golden Palace in Vegas. All right. Doubt it. I gladly pay you Tuesday for an Arthur Adams page today. You guys, holy shit. Oh my God, you're going absolutely nuts with the comments. Wow. Hold on. Okay. All right. Let me catch up here. And where was I? Sorry, I lost track, everybody. Scrolling too quick. Yeah, maybe the owner of Wendy's bought it. Soylent Green crossover, chili cheese fries. There's the beef. It's a garden burger. That's like a Cezanne fruit on table. Right on, Peter. Right on. Paying for a page from the first appearance of Gambit. Right. Fine. That's right. It's more that. You're correct. It's more about that. Oh, look, I got a page from Gambit's first appearance. It shows no Gambit, but it does have a burger, fries, and ketchup. Oh, God. Terrible. Oh, my God. Something to complain about. Yeah. Quality Popeye comments, everyone. Curious to see the outrageous price. Oh, you're going to love it, Tony. You're going to love it. Some guys pay big to insert 2 fingers. All right. I've caught up to the comments. I gave you a peek. I gave you a quick sneak peek. Woo! I just wanted to take a breather, guys, though, because, oh, my God, I ran out of breath. Give me a moment here before I show it. Holy crap. Holy shit, I'm exhausted. Okay. All right. Here we go. Ready for this, everybody who doesn't know what happened? So, excuse me. Hold the Gonzalo Mayo. Maybe a collector has all the other pages and we just wanted, this is his life. No, Sean, that's not what happened here. All right. Okay. Oh my God. I can't believe I have to put this shit up on the screen again. It's like a travesty to my eyes. It's not even the art as much as the price. Okay. Here's a quick reminder, everyone. One more time. If you loved a burger and fries 3 months ago for $1,225, then you're positively gonna love a burger and fries only, I think, 48 days later for only $3,103. Yeah! Woo! Holy moly. Wow. What a bargain. There better be at least a 1 ounce gold coin hiding under that beef patty. Holy shit. I mean, do I even need to? Can you imagine the seller flipping it from eBay, right? Flipping it from eBay. He's obviously thinking, okay, some sucker is bound to give me a profit on Comic Link. But who would have imagined? I would have figured he might have broken even. I thought, okay, maybe he's going to get 1,500 out of it, which would have left him, honestly, as a wash, right? But who could have imagined that even after the selling fee, this guy would have more than doubled his money, 153% net profit. He pocketed, he got his $1,200 back, and on top of that, was given a gift of $1,567.70. I mean, holy shit. Outrageous. Oh my God. Oh my God. I do love it. I do love it, Tony. You know how it is. But first, some more renting. Oh, supersize. Oh my God. I'm loving it. My kind of burger page. Well done, pun intended. Oh my God. Oh, insane. Insane is the better word. Absolutely nice flip, for sure. Burger flip. The guy, I mean, can you imagine? Like, that's a Whopper. No, yeah, it might be a Whopper. Exactly, Ian. Oh my gosh. That burger and fries for a year, it's not even routine. In a year, it'll sell for $5K. I have my doubts. I have my doubts, Tom. Let's see what happens. Franchise prices. Was that Jason again? Can you imagine? Yeah, Gambit was in the back of the page making the fries. Yeah, in the back. And you don't see him clearly, but he's back there hiding behind those fries in the top corner of the bottom panel. You know, hiding away. But he's there. First appearance. First appearance of the burger and fries that a stranger in a restaurant was served in the first issue appearance of Gambit. You know? Oh, man, that's crazy. First appearance of not even first appearance of fries in comic art. Are you kidding? And the worst part, it's a chicken patty. Oh, my God. It's colored like meat, though, but it just doesn't look very meaty. You know? That's funny. Maybe there's a drawing on the back of the page. Nope. Nope. I'm sorry to say. Somebody paid, guys, $3,103. And I don't even know what to say anymore. Oh, my God. My back is killing me. My throat's killing me. Shoulders are killing. Chest is killing me, just like last week. I'm going to have to get a regular companion so I don't have to do all the talking for this series, because oh shit, it's not even 5 hours this time. It's killing me after 3 hours, and yeah, it started like 20 minutes ago. So, but yeah, it's Rich says that's Rachel Summers. What's Rachel Summers? The hamburger is Rachel Summers? What do you mean? Impossible burger. It's an impossible price. That's what I think. Can you imagine? Image of a religious figure in the ketchup. That could be it. Anyway, like if you're the reseller on that, what a flip. Buys it on eBay, flips it to Comic Link in 48 total days from the day it was purchased to the day that it resold. 48 days for one of the most garbage pages in existence, right? Content quality, right? The content is garbage. Nobody's going to dispute that. Oh, you think it's her fingers? Well, then you should be saying it's Gambit's fingers, right? Because it's Gambit's first appearance. So maybe it's a first appearance. Maybe that's Gambit holding the plate, bringing it to his table, and he's going to sit down and eat it, you know? Oh, shit. She eats the burger. Oh, she eats the burger the next page with the Art Adams self-portrait as the server. Oh, okay. See, you ruined my fun, though, Rich. You ruined my fun. See, if we didn't know that, then maybe we could at least claim, okay, it's Gambit's fingers, first appearance, you know? Cameo. Almost bought it off eBay as a joke, but then You stopped it when it was at 350. Yeah. You see what happens? Oh God! And like I said, James, I actually thought it was okay at 1,000 to 1,200, right? So he got it for the price that I thought it was worth. It's just that I would still not waste my time buying it for that price because it's just trash, you know. I would never have imagined in a million years somebody would pay 3 times that amount, you know. But missed out on an epic flip. Yeah, indeed. Soon to be at Heritage. I don't know, because if it gets flipped to Heritage, Caesar, whoever this guy is who owns it now at $3,000 plus, he's going to be seeing it on my next show. He's going to see it soon on my next Stop the Insanity episode, you know? So, exactly, Peter. They did not stop the insanity. That burger was made from meat of the finest Australian cattle ranched by a young Hugh Jackman. Right on. Great job picking that page out for the show. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, whoever owns it, man, I sincerely do wish you a lot of luck, because I sincerely believe you're going to need a lot of luck to get your money back out. Don't know what you're going to do with it, but yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you, in all sincerity, whoever you are. All right, guys. A very interesting next piece to show, and it's another what I call double whammy. You'll see what I mean by that as we go. This is the last piece we're going to see in tonight's episode. So don't just take off as soon as you see what piece it is. You know, stick around for all the commentary, because I think we're going to, again, for those of us who have learned, it's great. But those who are watching live who haven't learned enough yet, and those watching on Rewind who are maybe new and still haven't really learned yet what we're trying to get at here. We're going to learn a few lessons here. These are some great examples with this one last piece. Okay, it's one piece, but it's a double whammy. Okay. Oh, look who's here, Carl. Checking in. Had a very busy night, but just wanted to log my like. Thank you. Appreciate it, Carl. Thank you, man. Have a good one. This time a burger page going for that, regardless of whether it's the first appearance issue. Yeah. How do you top the burger? Should have saved that one for last, right? But yeah, interesting conversation. And who knows? Maybe I've helped to jack up the value for it, because he can now say it became the subject of much conversation on a YouTube episode, you know? So it's got a little bit of fun cachet you can attach to it, right? A double burger, a tuna melt? No. So it's X-Men. Again, it's X-Men. So we're gonna get some more comments, especially from James here. But double whammy. So we're gonna see a couple of things happen here. All right. So let's start it off. Let me show you this, everyone. All right. So November 2015, X-Men 277, page 8. So this sold before even James wasn't collecting at this point. All right. If I remember correctly, James, of course, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you started in 2017. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. But a lot of collectors that are around today were not collecting in 2015. The hobby's grown quite a bit since this time. Anyway, so he picks it up at Heritage for $31.07. Right? Nice Jim Lee, Scott Williams, nice art. Of course, content quality is fairly low, with only Storm in her non-classic costume and the Starjammers, right? And I can see already, I haven't barely begun talking. There's already 10 comments. I'm going to get to those right away. All right, Big McFarlane. Damn, I'm hungry for a nicer burger. Okay, get over the burger, guys. We've moved on. Might have to go Waffle House. All right. Okay, 2016. I missed it by a year. I apologize. Sorry, dude, but classic Storm is always going to bring more money than early 90s Storm with giant robotic laser missile launchers on her shoulders. Cyclops' dad. Oh, that carries tons of value. Tell me, Marcus, how much does Hepzibah? Is she there? That's my favorite Starjammer, Hepzibah. How much value does she bring? She's not even there. Okay, forget it. All right, so 3107 in 2015. Look what this guy does, okay? Look what this guy who buys it, look what he does. 1 year and 6 months later, so a year and a half later, he sells it again at Heritage, right? Let's go back. I'm sorry, what did I do here? I made a boo-boo. Hold on. So 2015, yeah, sorry. So he buys it for 3107, and then it goes up just under $1,000. Okay, but of course he resold it at Heritage. So because of the heavy fees, this is once again what, the third example tonight of a page where we're not sure if he could have either lost negligibly or he made a negligible profit, depending on what kind of seller fee he had, right? I think this is the third example. So really, it's not much of a winner, even if he had no seller fee. It's really a wash. Okay, but here's where it gets very interesting, right? And this is why, again, I want to reiterate to those of you who don't believe in the fact that it's likely that you will lose money unless you hold on to your art for 5 years minimum. Okay, again, you don't have to believe me. I'm not making that shit up. This is just something I discovered doing a lot of research and background work, you know, and I'm just presenting data, okay? But if you're a non-believer, right, that's okay. Here's another example to show you. I've already shown 75 or so in the past 5 episodes, plus tonight. So we're up to like 90 now. Yeah, 90 examples. Okay, so check this out. So the buyer buys it in 2015 for just over 3,100. He basically breaks even after a year and a half selling it in 2017, right? So let's take a look now and focus. Okay, so we can learn. That's one thing we've already, you know, taught many times over in this series. You know, you held on for a year and a half, whatever it was, and you broke even. And that's with a Jim Lee X-Men page, right? So let's move over and focus on the guy here, right? The person that, you know, this guy, the seller, the reseller broke even, but somebody bought it for $4,063. So let's focus on him, right? Let's focus in on him right here. And we look at the page again as it's being purchased. So this seller paid $40.63 in May of 2017, right? All right. So then what happens here? He holds on to it and sells it 3 years, 11 months later, but boom, for $33,600. And that was a Heritage. So even with the massive Heritage fees, guys, look at how much money he is profiting. Look at the percentage level, guys. Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy shit. Oh, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Wow. I mean, the whammy number 2 coming up, indeed. Oh my God. Look at this, guys. April 21. And he held it for almost 4 years. So once again, it goes to show the longer you hold, you tend to make larger profits when you make profits, you know? So sick. Did it come with COA? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It turned into a Silvestri page again. Jim Lee X-Men art exploded in 2020 to 2022, then went down for a few years and back up strong. Let's see. Not exactly just a matter of holding on to the art. A lot of market condition changed in that time. Like I always say, Chris, there are tons of variables in play. This show is convincing me to be a flipper. Well, good luck. Good luck. I wish you all the luck. Stanley, I absolutely wish you all the luck. But yeah, check it out. 520% as a minimum. 589 possibly percent. Wow. Imagine getting your money back, guys. You know, imagine reselling. You hold on to it. You enjoyed it for almost 4 years, you know, and you get your $4,000 back. And then also an extra $21 or $23 or $24,000 bonus profit to go with your money back. Wow. Holy shit. That is outstanding. I mean, wow. What just an amazing, amazing result. But yeah, a lot of luck played into this. Let's be honest, right? Yeah, go ahead and flip that Ulan art. Yeah, well, hey, I'm not going to give any advice about taxes, James. That's all up on everybody. Every seller. It's all up to you guys, whatever you want to do with your profits in art sales. Declare it, don't declare it, hide it from the government, whatever. And just to the Canadian Revenue Agency, just know I'm speaking mostly to Americans. And some people from overseas as well. But I always pay and declare all my art taxes. So I'm good. I can go to bed sleeping well, not having to worry that the CRA, the Canadian Revenue Agency, is going to ever be on my case. Yeah, that was outstanding, an outstanding result. But to those of you watching tonight who hopefully you're getting the point of this, and that, you know, this episode is not about showing you that, like Stanley said, that you're going to get excited about flipping because you think you can make money. Because like I said, that last piece was now the 90th example that I've shown throughout this entire Stop the Insanity series. That was the 91st piece, right? And so tonight, if we count all the examples as wins, and we know that about 4 of them really are break evens, okay? But let's call them all wins, all 16 wins, okay? Give the benefit of the doubt, right? Even if we do that, that means, okay, that means that 17.5% of all the examples I've shown so far were winners. Only 17.5 out of the 91 are winners. But keep in mind, 17.5, which is already a poor number, really poor. Okay, that's not a high success ratio. Keep in mind, I already have enough more examples of losing trades for, I believe, another 2 episodes. So once you factor those in, the percentage of losers goes even further up than 85% losers. The percentage of winners goes way down, you know. Yeah, so all in a nutshell, just having some fun here, everybody, presenting actual factual data that you can use to make yourselves better collectors, better sellers, better resellers, better buyers also, you know. I would hope, anyways, I would hope. But let me jump in before we get out of here, everybody. See what you guys have said. I've missed a few. That'll pay for 7 burgers. Right on. You buying all of your art out of the Cayman Islands? Read on Grand Cayman, perhaps. Interesting. No government for you. We'll only give it to Bezos and Musk. Nice. Post-pandemic prices are just crazy. But again, people throughout this series have kept chiming in. Whenever I showed, you know, examples of like prices that happened, you know, examples that happened throughout the pandemic. But I've shown many examples that have shown that the pandemic factor didn't always factor in, you know? So I think more than anything, like I say, I think the data has shown me, certainly, because I'm the one who's parsing all the data. So I'm looking at it much more carefully and slowly and, you know, intuitively than anyone else. But I do firmly believe that the data points that stand out the most are that, in fact, it's a bad idea to sell your art too soon, and by too soon, less than 5 years. It really does go to show that if you hold your art for at least 5 years or more, you're going to lose a lot less often. You know, it's rare that you will lose. We've shown that. We've shown that time and time again, over and over and over now for six episodes, you know. If you hold on to it for 10 plus years, will it sell exponentially better? Well, I don't, you know, I didn't parse the data that specifically, but I can tell you, Marcus, that I did notice on some examples, and we'll be able to get into that actually relatively soon, because in the near future, I'll be doing an episode where we will be showing, once again, it's not Stop the Insanity, it's Stop the Insanity adjacent, right? We'll be doing an episode where it's not losers, it's winners, but it's not even like tonight where it's, oh, the exceptions to the rule, the winners that made money selling in less than 5 years of owning it, right? It's going to be winners and people that held for 5 years or more. And just off the top of my head, Marcus, just having looked at some of the examples, but without, you know, closely looking at them, I do remember looking at some and thinking, whoa, like as you hold it longer, and it's not an exact science. So it's not like just because you held it for 7 means you're going to make more than if you held it for 6 or 6.5. No, you know, you could still make more selling it after 6 or 6 and 2 months than holding it for 8. You know what I mean? So it's not an exact science, but overall, it does seem that the longer you hold, the better off you are. And especially at a certain point, a certain number of years, like once you're, I think it's once you were past like the 8, or was it 10 or 11, or I don't know. At a certain point, I realized, holy crap. Yeah, once you start holding it for like double-digit years and above, wow. I mean, the market truly changes and grows a lot, sees a lot of growth in those longer period, right? Those longer length periods. So it does kind of make sense, you know, that's where you're going to see the biggest sort of exponential gains. But again, it's not super scientific, like not an exact science. But yeah, we're going to see some, you know, pretty amazing, some amazing examples, because I'll show examples. I'm trying to show any examples, as long as it's a minimum of 5 years. I'll show examples of people that bought and sold 20 years later. But let me say this, though. Let me say this, because I also want to say one thing that's very important. When we get to that show, and I'll repeat it when that time comes and we do that show, but it bears mentioning because I don't want anybody, you know, bitching. When we do that show, it doesn't mean that the buys and then later sells. It doesn't mean, I'm not telling you that the person who was the buyer is also going to be the same person who later sold. Okay. My goal here is just to show that the data shows us that the longer you hold, the better off you're going to be. Not only are you going to be much more likely to almost guarantee yourself a minimum of a break even or profits, right? But I'm hoping to show that the profits are much larger the longer you hold, right? And so it won't matter whether it's the same person, right? So I will have examples where I just found the sale happened, say, in, I don't know, 20 years ago, and then it sold again this year, right? So it doesn't matter that it wasn't the same person. I just want to end up showing that this is what can happen if you hold on to it that long, right? So imagine if you bought it, if you were the person who had bought in 04 and you held on and sold it in 2022 or 2025 or whatever, you know, that this is what would happen, right? So that should be interesting. That should be an interesting episode. I'm looking forward to that. And what year did Heritage start accepting Bitcoin as payment? I don't know. It's got to be fairly recent, in the last few years during the COVID era, I believe. I think the Vegas where the odds are better. Yeah, no kidding. Do a show on big wins that Berkey and other dealers have had. Why the hell would I want to promote ridiculous big wins that other dealers that I have nothing to do with have done? Who cares? Like, you really give a crap? Who gives a shit? They can do it on their own if they want to show off their big, you know what that is, Stanley, too? If you were to do that, to me, that's no different. It's the equivalent. That's the equivalent of people in the stock market, right? Like, I've been involved in the stock market for, 31 years, something like that, right? And your example, that's the same as those people that for 30 plus years now, I've heard, you start, the topic of stock investing comes up, and you always run into these people who constantly boast about the money they made, right, with stocks. And one thing you always notice really quickly about those people is they never, and I mean never, talk about the money they lost in the stock market. And those are the kind of people who they're full of shit. They're bullshitters. You know, they just want to boast and not talk about the bad stuff. And trust me, people who do nothing but boast about the wins have lost plenty, you know? So, yeah. And we're talking about comic art now. Like I said, who cares? I mean, listen, just so you understand, Stanley, I have no interest in ever doing a show about the big wins I've had, right? And this is my channel, and I was a full-time dealer for 14 years. I would never do that. Like, who gives a shit? Whatever, you know? So there you go. That's how I feel on that. So that ain't gonna happen. The Wonder Woman annual cover pops up every 8 years. Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of pieces. There's many more out there. I gotta find them. You know, never a day trader. Never a day trader. Always kind of buy and hold. Yeah. For me, a quick sale would have been several months, half a year to a year. That would be like a day trade. You know, I rarely did that. Can you project some prices on the June? No, I cannot. Ruben the Doom Kitty. All right. So anyways, everybody, yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm super exhausted. My throat and chest and neck and shoulders are killing me. So we're going to cut out of here. But I am going to say, first of all, once again, thank you so much to all of you. First and foremost, to you guys who are always here live. Week in, week out, no matter the kind of show it is, not just for the Stop the Insanity series within a series. So I thank you. I thank those of you as well, equally, those of you who come in every now and then, whenever they can, like James, my man. Good night to you. Oh, look at that. Comic Collector UA stayed silent until it was time to say goodbye. Look at that. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yes, we are done, Sean. We are done. And I finished my last example, and so that's it. We're closing it out. Oh, thank you, Rickster. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You too, Peter, always. The burger page is going to feature in my next nightmare. Like I said, I'm not kidding. Maybe the owner sees this and he ends up being happy that we talked about it, you know, and it might be a little bit of a thing to talk about it, like a conversation piece, right? Exactly. No. That's it, Tom. That's it. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Hey, by the way, what are you bootlegging? You never told us what you bootleg. Alcohol. Stanley, thanks for dropping by the way, Dan. Thank you. Appreciate it, Stanley. And hopefully see you again soon. Don't forget next week, everybody. I am back again with, and I'm sorry, I really wish I didn't have to do it so soon. Thank you, Ian. But it is another episode of Stop the Insanity. So I'm gonna put the thumbnail up. No sir, no sir, none. Yes sir, X-Men. Like, hey, that's it. You stick with the bit. If you want to make money and you care more about money than what you love, let's say collecting. If money is your making money and art is your primary objective, I say yeah, stick with Wolverine, X-Men, Spidey, and that's it. If you just stick with quality stuff like that, yeah, you're over and hold it for 20 years. You're gonna make a lot of money. Good night, Lee. Thank you so much. No press is bad press. Right on, Chris. Fantastic show. Look forward to the next Stop the Insanity episode. Love your enthusiasm. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's that enthusiasm that kills my throat and chest, shoulders, neck, and head. Oh, man. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. And Sean, that was a fun show. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks again for dropping in. Always appreciate you. The bootlegging is on my YouTube channel. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to check that. Oh, bootleg performances. I got it. Cool, man. Awesome. Well, thank you, man, for letting me know, and thank you for coming by again as always. Look at that, Steve B&G. Thank God Steve lives like a couple hours away, because after last week's 5-hour talking marathon and then chatting with him for an extra 5 hours the next day, I wouldn't be able to do that tomorrow again. Rewind caught the end of the show. Only saw a great tennis match. Glad. I hope you enjoyed it. You forgot Sentry. We're not talking Sentry. Has the Insanity. You know what? Look, like I said, Mike, I tried to put it out with my fire hose. I tried to fire it, but apparently the Insanity is going to continue, because as of next week, right? You may find your episode on Bootleggers. As of next week, everyone. Yes, please come back. Here we go. Join me and my special friend Susan Powder, not in the studio, of course, but on the thumbnail. Please come back again next week at the same time, same channel, for the 12th episode of Comic Art 101, and I guess the 7th, if you count tonight as an adjacent episode. It would be a seventh time we do something related to this topic. So I look forward to that, guys, and hope to see you there. Don't forget Nikki B this coming Friday. No hostess ad art, actually, but if you ever see anything that lost money in less than 5 years, send it to me and let me know about it. CBD sponsor. Yeah, right on. And that's funny. Thanks again, Chris. I appreciate you, dude. And yeah, guys, so like you said, Sean, as you see, the fire continues to burn. You know, I mean, think about it. I did try hard to put out the fire for these resellers, right? Look at me. There I am with my Beastie Boys shirt, right? There I am with my Beastie Boys shirt, trying to put out the fire of all those $100 bills, thousands of them, right? I tried, man. But apparently, given what's going to happen here, we're done, baby. We're done. And, you know, after the fire still burns. Oh, boy. So that's it, guys. Thanks again. Appreciate you. Were you injured in the stop there? Do financial compensation. Nice. Making money, investing, and flipping. I have never done that. And so we're never going to do that, Dan. That's awesome. All right, guys. Thank you very much again. And as always, yeah, come back next week. Let's have some fun again. And tell your friends about this if you guys really enjoy this series. And especially people, if you know that they don't watch my show, maybe they'll at least watch the Stop the Insanity series, which seems to be popular. And you got to point them out to me, Caesar. Point them out to me, baby. It was always burning since the world's been turning. Right on. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Don't forget, again, Nikki B Friday. And then please come back here, as always, to watch me and this lovely lady that you see beside me. for the next episode of Comic Art 101. Stop the insanity. Until then, have a great week. And as always, go blue.